Okay, Adrian, can you give me a count of 1 to 10, please? No. No, hang on. Yes, quit. Scott, let's go with normal party chat.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Okay, sounds good to me. So we'll go with that. We're ready
Okay.
to rock and roll, gentlemen.
Great. Got the telemetry app running.
Okay, we have a green light. Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome to F1 tonight. And we are here at Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix. Excuse me, and co-commentating and ably and wonderfully assisting myself this evening, we have Adrian. Good evening, Adrian.
Evening, Eddie. Thanks for inviting me yet again.
That's okay, no problem. It's a pleasure as always. So race 17 of the season. Once this one's done, we've only got 4 remaining, and it should be an interesting race. We are here obviously in Japan, and quite an iconic racetrack, the home, I guess you can say, certainly of F1 in Japan. And it's a tricky old track, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's unique in that it's the only figure of eight, of course. Very technical and lots of history at this circuit as well. It's sort of Honda's home track. A lot of the other manufacturers use it as well.
Well, I believe Honda looked to actually build the track in the 50s, and it was actually, I think, completed construction in 63. But it was actually designed by a Dutch track designer.
What was it now?
See, I've been reading up on Wiki. Am I good?
Done your homework. Well done.
I have. And you're right, it is a figure eight. The track actually goes over and under, and that's effectively the bridges when you go from turn 9 down towards 10, and the bridge over is just as you come on the exit of turn 15, coming towards the final casino triangle before the start finish straight. So it looks like Nicky Visser is out immediately. A few details. Nicky Visser will be disqualifying himself as he has a penalty to serve and will be starting at the back of the grid. We have 3 runners and riders not with us this evening, and that is Seb Bogart for Ferrari, Peter Phillips for Red Bull, and Stan Drumkov for Mercedes. So neither or none of those 3 drivers will be racing. So that should lighten things up a bit. Obviously, Seg is leading the Drivers' Championship at the moment on 218 points. His teammate, Basta Breen, is second on 175, and Damie Hartman for Haas is currently third on 166. I guess no great shakes really for Seb to miss this race this evening.
Yeah, you kind of feel that he can afford to take a little break. He said, I think the last time, I think he feels that he's maybe he's earned it. I don't know though. I mean, leading a championship is all well and good, but if you're not leading at the end of the last race, then you know it's kind of pointless. But obviously, we hope he's going to be back next week. Is he back next week?
Yeah, we certainly hope he is. That's the general idea of it. And that's interesting. I can't. Oh, there we go. He's having a bit of a problem getting out of the car there. So, yes, hopefully he should be back next week. So everyone is out on the super softs at this moment in time, and so we will be growing for, well, we've got 15 drivers. Nicky Visser has disqualified himself, which does leave Ruud Windahl still to come out. So there are 16 runners and riders still there. I think Ruud Windahl's in. I'll have to actually double check that. He might not be in. So we'll see that in due course. So we are, let's go, Mark Stapper's still in the pit. Let's go with Damie Hartman. So he's just coming up to the final sector now. And we'll run round with him on his hot lap just to get ourselves familiar with the track. And only the one DRS detection point is just before they came to that set of corners there. So we'll run on board with Damie Hartman now as he comes over the start-finish line. DRS stops there, comes into the first corner, into the second corner, so that's called first turn. And then we go into the S-curves, turns 3 to 7. And this is a real play with the gearbox, really. You're generally sort of floating between 5th and 6th gear, coming round here, looking to maintain the flow. And Sauber driver, I think they're moving across, letting him through. So he's coming into the casino triangle now. Nicely done there. Sorry, not casino triangle, sorry, designer curve. As he comes under, there was the bridge. He comes up to turn 11, the hairpin. Now, this is the long right-hander of turn 12 as you come uphill and then drop down the other side and then up again towards left-hander of 13. Spoon curve, round 13, 14. Careful on your exit. One on the right-hand side. Start to lay down the power. You're in the valley, coming up the hill now, going over the track that you did before. Nice high-speed turn there into the chicane, the casino triangle, onto the straight. And there you have it. That is the circuit. And he's set to 129. Sorry, his teammate set to 129.4. He didn't set a time on that one. So Boy Williamson at this moment in time is the only man that set a time with a 129.4. So looking strong, looking good. And tyre choice is an interesting one for this track. Obviously, everyone's out on the super softs. And generally, you tend to find it is a sort of super soft mix, isn't it? I mean, you do have the possibility, I believe, of medium here as well, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. I wouldn't expect anybody to use anything but the super soft in this session, unless, as we've seen in some other races in other leagues, they wanted to do a bit of an extended practice session on the harder tyres, which some of them can afford to do. But yeah, no, I imagine they'll all be staying on this tyre for now.
Yeah, that is certainly what is expected. So 129.4 still Boy Williamson, 129.9 from Marcel Dronig in the Renault, 130.4 from his teammate Guido Airshine. Martin Parder Cooper in the Red Bull sets a 130.4. And Marcel France in the Toro Rosso, 131.1. Rob Mulder in the Williams, 131.3. Kevin Van Delft in the McLaren sets a 132.1. And Boy Williamson does get in there. Look at that. 129. Sorry, Davey Hartman, 129.2. But Marco Pullen in the Saubers just betted that with a 129.1.
From the driver. Hope that's reflected in in Q3 and indeed the race itself.
Well,
kind of pace.
Let's see. I mean, to be fair, I mean Marco, he's a competent driver. He's had some, relatively good results, some terrible results as well. But he has done pretty well so far this season. He is obviously teammate to Nicky Vissi. He's currently 4th in the champion. Marco Pullins is currently 11th. But he generally performs pretty well on the quali, but it's just that transfer to the race. And as I say, he's done some great races, but he also has had some pretty bad ones, unfortunately, this season.
Yeah, you often find that with a lot of drivers. They can do so well in quali, but when it comes to converting that into championship points and and race victories and things, I don't know, they just kind of peter out, or they get lucky and are able to, grab a podium. Yeah, it's such a different skill set needed to score some good points as opposed to get pole position.
Yeah, absolutely spot on there. And a little bit of information for you in comparison. So in real world, the Q1 time, or the best Q1 time that was actually set for the 2018 Japanese Grand Prix was a 1:28.7, and that was actually set by Lewis Hamilton in Q1. So a 1:28.7, and everybody else was in the 1:29s. So 1:29.2, Valtteri Bottas, 1:29.4, Verstappen, 1:29.6, Raikkonen, the Ferrari, the best Ferrari of Q1. So
only for now.
We're not a million miles off those times at this moment, are we?
No, that's right. I think De Vries might beat Hamilton's time, to be honest. It's just a very fast first sector, 32.216. You compare that to Parder Cooper, for example. He's on a 33.0.
Yeah, wow.
Second sector's looking good as well. Just wait for him to cross the sector line.
As he comes down now, yep. Coming uphill now. Round turn 15, and that's a top high-speed turn there.
Yeah, it's a 39.8.
Wow, he is looking very good here. This is looking very nice indeed. Let's see what he can do.
Oh, Guido Airshon's just gone top.
Oh, look at
De Vries beat him.
1:28.4. So 1:28.4 from Bas Debris in the Ferrari, and beats the real-world time set by Lewis Hamilton in 2018 by 0.3 of a second. Absolutely phenomenal. Guido Airshine in the Renault, 1:28.993. Again in the 1:28. Great result for him. Marco Pullen still sitting in the 1:29.1. So at this moment in time, I don't think we do have Ruud Windau with us. I'm pretty sure we don't. So this is pretty much really a practice for the guys. And Zander Hermans, as we know, is out. Peter Phillips is out. Seb Bogart is out. Stan Drumkov. Sorry, Zander Hermans has actually gone out. So I don't know if he's had an incident. I think he has, hasn't he? Yeah, Zander Hermans in the Mercedes must have had an incident there. So at this moment in time, Miguel Torni has also quit out. And Mark Stappers. Now, again, these guys have probably quit out because they're through anyway, I think. Because obviously the 15 drivers would go through with Nicky Visser disqualifying himself. He was the 16th driver, effectively. So
yeah, that would make sense.
It does look like we don't have Ruud Windau. Apologies for that. I wasn't aware that we didn't have the Williams driver of Windau. He might be joining later on in the session. So I'll put a little question mark next to him at this moment in time.
It'd be a shame if he's not here, having won the last race in quite a really tough race, I think.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a great race.
Debrin got pole as well, didn't he? He was sort of miles ahead of everyone.
He did. Windau was in second on the grid alongside him, and he actually managed to get ahead right at the start of the race. Just pretty much maintain that lead all the way through, bar pit stops.
Yeah. I was just going to say the top two drivers here, Debris and
Mark Stappers, sorry, it's a 1:37. So nice midfield time there from Stappers.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah,
Adrian, you were saying?
Yeah, I was saying Debris and Airshon here. I mean, they've got a difference of, what's that, 0.6 of a second. All of that difference is in the first sector alone.
Wow.
The second and third sectors are pretty much even.
Yeah, well, it's actually, well, 5/10. Yeah, 5/10 is the difference effectively between nearly 6/10, as you rightly say. And that's all in the first sector.
Yeah.
Well, it is quite critical, certainly, that first sector. And to give you an idea, Sector 1 takes us effectively through all the S curves. And then as we are actually coming round the Dunlop curve, that's when we go into Sector 2. And then Sector 3 starts just as you start to come uphill. So when you, just before you go over the bridge, effectively over the track again, that's Sector 3, and that takes you obviously across to the start-finish line. So I think the drivers are probably going to go with this as it is. And I think that's but Miguel Torni and Zander Hermans didn't set a time there, so I don't know if they'll actually go through to Q2, because they haven't set a time.
Yeah, I'm a little bit unsure on the mechanics of it all, but I think if you don't set a time, I think it still does let you participate, I think.
Oh, does it? Oh, okay.
I believe so, yeah.
Well, we'll soon find out, that's for sure. So just under 4 minutes remaining of this session. I think the drivers are pretty much going to treat it as a test, effectively. Now, the other thing to say about this track is, and I know I've spoken about it a couple of times on previous tracks, I suppose China's one of them, it's the flow, it's the rhythm of the track. And that rhythm is really, really critical in that first sector, isn't it? You know, when you're going through those S curves.
Yeah, absolutely. That first sector is probably the most technical of all sectors of all tracks in the Canada, to be perfectly honest. I know there's lots of drivers that absolutely hate it. But you know, if you are able to master that section and you've got the setup just right as well, then you can be 6/10 ahead of everyone else, just like Post Debris is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said that was where it was. That was the difference between Guido Airshine in the Renault and Bastabreen, was that first sector. So it does go to show, you know, if you get that rhythm right, and it is a rhythm. There's no two ways about it. If you get that rhythm right, you know when you got it right, and it does show in your time. It really does. It's quite critical. The other one as well is, as you come out of the S curves, you're coming uphill round the Dunlop curve and then drop downhill towards the designer curve. The apex of that Dunlop curve at turn 7, it can be a tricky one as well, can't it? Because you have to go wide out to the right, and it's so easy to just hit that dirt, and then you just spin out, and that's it.
Yeah, for a purpose-built racetrack as opposed to a street circuit, it's actually it's very unforgiving in terms of its runoff areas and things. You have to get it. You know, I mean, there's no room for error.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got one wheel on the glass, that could in theory end your race.
Yeah, it is, and it is a tricky one. I've got to say though, I absolutely love that designer curve, turn 8, when you hit it right on that apex, and then you go to turn 9 just before you go under the road, effectively under the bridge. Two fantastic corners, and it's amazing how quickly you can actually do them. Obviously, you are downshifting. You're probably going around turn 9, you know, 4th gear, maybe 3rd gear, and then you accelerate uphill round turn 10, and then you hit that hairpin, and that hairpin as well, so critical. You get the right angle on entry and hit that apex on that left hand side. Otherwise, again, when you start to lay down a power, and especially with the ERS, you're going to see, I can guarantee we're going to see cars spinning out there, aren't we?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that turn 9, that second turn of the designer curve there. The cars are probably doing around 110, 120 miles an hour on that apex, and then into the hairpin. Of course, they're doing 45 miles an hour around that hairpin. Have you ever tried turning the car around 180 degrees at 45 miles an hour? It's not easy.
No, it definitely is not easy. That is for sure. And okay, you've got the grip of an F1 car, but even so, it's hairy when you're doing it virtually. I'd hate to think what it's like when you're doing it in real life.
Well, here's a statistic for you. Breen on his hot lap hit 4.1 Gs at one point on the track here. I can't tell for certain that it was that hairpin. It might have been 130R. But yeah, it's incredible G-force there, driver's experience.
Yeah, just a touch. Sorry, 130R. I'm a little bit off on this one. Which corner is that one then?
That is the corner in the final sector that leads into the last chicane. So it's flat
turn
out
15. So when you're up at the top of the hill,
15.
flat out.
Yeah. So called 130R because there's a 130-meter radius.
Ah, okay. So 130R, obviously, I presume R. Well, it can't be for right because it's actually a left-hand turn.
No, it is radius.
Ah, right, okay. So there you have it. Those are the drivers that are through. And just to confirm, in the drop zone there is Nicky Visser. Oh dear. Okay, they're restarting the session, so I think there may have been some drivers dropping out of the session. So it looks to me like there is going to be a session restart. So we'll just wait for the invite to come through, and once we pick that up, then we can go. So we saw a couple of drivers dropping out there. So critically, that's obviously what's happened.
Yeah, it must have been. I can't recall seeing any sort of glitch or anything, but we don't know for sure what the drivers are experiencing. Sometimes they have the setup glitch where you're not able to select any of your saved setups.
God, yeah, that one's been coming through, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite frequent, that one. There is one way to fix that, but it doesn't always work. If you just do a lap and then come in and then do your setup, it sometimes resets itself and you're able to select the setup, but obviously it hasn't worked.
Dear. Well, I've got to say, I mean, I'm doing obviously a few streams at the moment, and this has been one that's been reoccurring, especially with drivers just also not being able to join the lobby, or sometimes even get in their vehicles.
Yeah, unfortunately, Codemasters is a little bit of an ironic name. There does tend to be quite a few glitches in the multiplayer portion of their otherwise brilliant game.
Yeah, well, the drivers are still in, I think, by the looks of it. So I'm just going to go on to spectate. Are you in spectate mode?
I am indeed.
So it kicked me out. So apologies for those of you watching the stream. I thought they were going to start a new session, but it actually kicked me out. So I'm having to go back in again. So Q2 will already be underway. So apologies for that, but that's the wonderful nature. It's about the second or third time I've been kicked out in a row, actually. So there we are. We're in Q2. 13 minutes remaining. No times set as yet. So let's have a look now. And now we're starting to see a little bit more of a mix on those tyres. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So roughly half the field are on the softs. The other half are on the super softs. Now, again, you know, there isn't, there isn't a lot of difference really on those super softs and softs. It is a hard track on the tyres though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's hard on all the tyres, but yeah, I mean, for me personally, I find there is actually quite a big difference. Sorry to contradict you, but there's quite a big difference between...
Please do, because I was just waffling, to be honest.
Quite a big difference between... At least you said it. Yeah, so it's quite a big difference between the super soft and the soft tyre. Not so much between the soft and the medium, but yeah, it's just that first sector, that technical sector. It's very, very harsh on the tyres, at least for me anyway. And yeah, it just eats through my supers. I do otherwise like the super softs on this track, but I just can't get them to last more than sort of 6 or 7 laps.
Yeah, well, this is going to be interesting. So the super softs, I mean, super softs, then you're saying probably in this instance, you're probably looking at that, what, 12 to 14 laps on the start, maybe?
Yeah, I'd have thought so, something around that region. Yep.
And what about the softs then? I mean, the softs you would expect to probably take you to round about sort of 20, I guess, in that instance, or in the low 20s.
Yeah, you'd hope to hit the low 20s. I was trying to remember how many laps this track is. Is it 60, something like that?
I believe 60. It is that. Bear with me 1 second, and I will tell you.
I used to know all the race distance.
53 laps.
53, sorry.
So it's 53 laps, 5.8 kilometres, 3.6 miles.
Okay. Yeah, so then I'd hope that the sort of middle tyre will do at least sort of 22, 24.
We've already seen some opening times, but they're not as fast as we expected. Marcel Droning's done a 1:30.2. Jerome Portmer on the softs, 1:32.8. Boy Williamson was in that top 5, remember, for Q1. He's done a 1:38.5 on those softs. So 1:48.9. So clearly those soft runners, they're not able to get the best out of that at this moment in time, are they?
No, and you have to wonder whether it's just the driver not favouring that particular tyre, or, you know, because people were talking about glitches in that race, they might have been distracted, or perhaps they had a glitch themselves and couldn't select their setup. So there could be a number of reasons why they perhaps weren't showing their true pace.
Well, let's see how this pans out now. Guido Airshine, I believe he's coming round for a fast lap as he comes round the 130R now, coming up to the Casino Triangle. Not looking too bad. He's probably going to be hitting around about a 129, I think. Might be less, actually. No, 130.1. So Guido Airshine, 130.1 on those softs. Now, that means that he's roughly roughly a couple of seconds off the time that he set on the Super Soft. That's a little bit more than one would expect, really, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. In his defence, I'd probably say that he might not have been pushing as hard as he was in Q1, because don't forget he's going to have to use these tyres at the start of the race, so it might have been an intentional sort of ease up. He might have been only sort of 85-90% pace.
Yeah, could well be the case. Now, I don't know why, but yeah, it's not letting me select. Weird that. Okay, so we are riding on board at this moment in time with Rob Mulder, the Williams driver. And, he put in a good race last week, and he's certainly improving. Now, he is on the SOT as well. He's on his outlap at this moment in time. Kevin Van Delft, Mark Stappers, both McLarens are in the pits. So I'm just trying to think what the drop time's going to be. It's difficult to tell at this moment in time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's even more difficult for me because I've got a black screen. So I'm going to have to... I think I'm going to restart the game and try and rejoin. I don't know what happened there.
If you do that, and we'll hold on if you want to mute there. So, bit of an issue there with my co-commentator Adrian. He's just gone black screen, so he's having to restart. So hopefully should resolve that problem relatively quickly. But, I'm just going to pause now. Oh dear, was that Rob Mulder going off there? So Boy Williamson has left the session. So don't know what's happening there. He said a 1:38.5, so we'll see what's happening. It could be that we've got issues with connections at this moment in time. We'll have to review that and see what happens, but we are running so far. And we are with Rob Mulder. He is on his fast lap. Let's see what this Williams driver can deliver here. Oh, and he spins badly as he's coming downhill there. And that was not pleasant at all. As he was on the exit of Spoon coming down, he just lost it. And I think the session is restarting. Yeah, we have clearly had an issue. It's just kicked me out, so I don't know whether it's the session restarting or whether it's kicked me out. We will see what happens. Yeah, it has indeed kicked me out. Night. So, oh, the joys, the joys.
I've managed to load up my game.
It's literally kicked me out. I don't know if they. Well, it's kicked me out, and I'm on the main menu now. So okay. I'm hoping that. Oh, hold on. Looks like they're restarting the session.
Do many of the drivers...
oh, right. Well, apparently when you left, another driver left as well, so they are going to be restarting.
Yeah. Okay. Do the drivers themselves watch the stream?
Some do. I'm just trying to verify with race control what's happening. Yep, so just a confirmation from race control. Q2 is going to be restarted. So we're just waiting for that grid to be formed up. And once it is, then obviously we'll get the invites. Oh, and there we are. Have you got yours, Adrian?
I have not.
Okay. You should get one from Bass.
Okay.
Okay, you've got that. Okay. So we are restarting Q2 as we had some technical issues. And I'm not going to go there because, unfortunately, the past few casts that I've been doing has has been a little, well, not more than a little bit, somewhat of a chastising, let us say, of Codemasters. So I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm going to concentrate on the racing. As I say, we saw an interesting mix there of tyres, the softs and the super softs. Clearly the softs, though, weren't really delivering the performance I think that those guys were looking for, were they?
No, they weren't. No, they were probably a little bit under their usual pace, or that tyre's usual pace. But as we said, we weren't quite sure, how much effort they were really giving it.
Putting in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It obviously does make a difference. Certainly what you're looking to do and what you're looking to achieve. But as we know, it is, as you quite rightly say, quite a technical track. So that's not necessarily unexpected. Now, interestingly enough, as I say, though, we still weren't hitting those times even with the super softs. We're a little bit into the session, so it'll be interesting to see how we actually start this session and whether there's going to be some improvements. I think we'll probably see some improvements in those times fairly early on.
Yeah, I think we will. I think I don't want to keep mentioning them, but once these glitches get out of the way and let the drivers actually race, I think they'll be able to put those things aside and actually focus on the task at hand.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you. Now, last year, we had an amazing race. It was a dry qualification. And just to give you the idea of the time, so you got some sort of idea, Haas, driver no longer with us, came in first on the pole. He did a 1:29.1. And Seb Bogart, who isn't with us this evening, came in second with a 1:29.5. And Bass the Breen did a 1:29.7. So that was last year. That was pretty impressive. They were on the super softs. The race itself was a wet start to the race. So it wasn't full wets. They were on intermediates up till lap 20. And in the end, Bass the Breen actually went out and didn't get a podium finish. All the other drivers that were there, Seb Bogart got in second, so he maintained his place. And we had the Haas driver come in first and the Mercedes come in third. But that was tricky conditions. But rain is not unusual here, is it?
No, certainly not. I mean, Japan has its fair share of monsoons, really. And the Japanese Grand Prix is quite known for being a frequent wet race, more frequent than the British Grand Prix, in fact. Which I think might be second.
That weather has played a major part in F1 history as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it used to be the final race of the season in the 70s, 80s, something like that.
And then if memory serves me correctly, it was when the British driver and his name, I don't believe it. His name was on the tip of my tongue here. The playboy of F1, I used to call him.
Wasn't that James Hunt, playboy?
James Hunt, yeah. It was when James Hunt actually won the championship. And that was with his old enemy in the Ferrari, who had only just recovered from his incident where he got very, very badly burnt. If you, I don't know if you know that sort of bit of history, and actually refused to go out and on the track and race. Yeah. So that was effectively when Niki Lauda lost the World Championship to James Hunt.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a good memory, or either you've been watching the film, or you know your history. It's a great
I've
film,
got
by
to
the way.
say, I have watched the film. I have only watched it the once, and it was about 2, 3 years ago. But it is
Yeah.
just one of those iconic things of F1 history that that really I think will live, forever.
Yeah, this race is quite significant as well in that Niki Lauda was one of the first, well, if not the first driver to start to highlight or emphasize the safety aspect of motor racing over the spectacle side of it. But before that, it was all about putting on a show, for the fans. And then, obviously, after what happened to Niki Lauda, um, yeah, it began to start to wonder, is that the right way to go about it? And obviously, more and more safety features have come in season after season since then, and we are where we are now with the introduction of the
Yeah,
Halo for this season.
yeah, absolutely. And also, there's been a lot of chat going around, and I've seen quite a bit with regards to the new aero profiles for 2019. And
Mm.
there seems to be a number of teams that are quite unhappy because it's majorly destabilized their cars.
Yeah, well, the idea of the new aero for next season is to try to reduce the impact of dirty air. That's where you're driving behind another
Where
driver,
you're following the car in front, and that these
yeah, and
cars
it's
do
loss of
suffer
downforce.
in a major way from riding in that dirty air, don't they?
They do. 70% of their grip over 100 miles an hour is generated from the downforce, and that downforce can only be generated when you've got air passing over the car. So if you've got a car in front of you, that's not going to happen, or it's going to happen less,
Well, it
and so
disturbs the
therefore you'll
airflow.
have
So
right.
basically, if you're on a straight line, I guess, and you've got the airflow going over you, if you've got a car ahead of you, that's disturbing the airflow and therefore throwing that air sort of higher up. So you're actually going, in effect, through thinner air. You're not getting the
Yeah.
same amount of air coming over your vehicle.
Yeah, that's it exactly. I mean, under normal conditions, when a Formula One car is driving 120 miles an hour, it actually generates the same amount of downforce as it has weight, which means that it can theoretically drive upside down in a tunnel
And this
at
is
that speed.
this is I knew you were going to come on to that, Adrian, because this is one of those wonderful, wonderful F1 myths, which I say myth because it's never been been proven. It is, I mean,
It's never it's
mathematically, mathematically, it can be done, but it's never actually been done.
it's never been done sort of in a real sort of in real life circumstances. It has been done in a wind tunnel, so they've passed air over a Formula One car at that speed and turned it upside down and sort of let it hang there. That has
So they
been
they
done,
basically, I
but
suppose, they had it clamped, and then when they reached the
yeah,
required speed, they released the clamps.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it's never been done sort of with an actual driver driving the car in a tunnel,
Well, I
which I want to
I
see at one
would
point, but.
love, well, I would love to see that. Let's be honest. I mean, the problem obviously with most tunnels is that they have lights and all sorts of other things running on their walls. And but if ever the opportunity were to arise where a tunnel was being made and it could accommodate the potentially that, I honestly, I would love to see that.
It'd be great when it'd be like a scene from Men in Black.
Yeah, it would. I was just, do you know what? It's exactly what I was picturing. Yeah, the scene in Men in Black when he goes under the Queen's Tunnel, presses the button, the jets come out, the car goes onto the ceiling. It is, yeah, it is fantastic. Who knows? It might happen. Yeah. Now we were waiting there for one driver, which was Rob Mulder, because he was having issues connecting. He does seem to have connected, so I think we do actually have the full,
Yep,
yeah, if you click on spectate now, we should go in. So it didn't actually load us in. So we had to
yep,
go
I'm in
select
right now.
spectate again. So apologies for that. That is game issues, not broadcast issues. But we are now back in. So this is F1 tonight. As I said, race 17 here in Japan. We are in Q2 and the queue has just started. And 14 drivers, so clearly not everybody got in, I think. So let's have a quick look there. Mulder is in. Looks like the Sauber's the first one out. Yep, looks like Marco Pullen is first man out on track on the Sauber. And he is on those softs. So a lot more drivers, interestingly enough, on the start of this queue have gone for the softs, haven't they? A lot more drivers.
Yeah, obviously, don't want to be starting the race on the super soft tyre. Thing is, by using the soft tyre, you're sort of keeping your true strategy hidden a little bit. So obviously, starting on the super soft, you know, or the other drivers know that you're possibly running a slightly more aggressive strategy. With the soft tyre, you've got the option after that to run either the super soft or the medium tyre. So you can kind of play it by ear depending on what's going on around you, what the other drivers are doing with their strategy. So yeah, it's an interesting choice, and it keeps they're able to keep their options open by doing that.
Yeah, that's it, absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I mean, this track, if you can get on, or if you can get into that Q3 on those softs, that is really the ideal tyre to start the race on, basically.
Yeah.
So
you might find, sorry, I was just going to say, you might find some drivers even attempting the medium tyre in this stint, although I don't see anyone on it at the moment.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously the medium is, you know, there is value in that, but clearly the medium, I would say, if you're going to go for a medium, you'd have to be looking for a start on the medium. I don't think you'd want to finish the race on a medium, would you? I mean, obviously you can, but I wouldn't have thought it would be the best choice to go for.
Yeah, well, it just kind of depends what does happen. No, the medium is quite a common ending or finished tyre. But yeah, I thought I might have seen maybe one or two start this session with the medium, then realise that maybe it's not going to work, and then go with the soft or super soft.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen anybody as yet come out on those, but certainly worthwhile. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're looking at these titles. I think everyone's pretty much looking at a two-stop.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to take your word for that, because I'm trying to work out the the possible strategies for a 100% race. Yeah,
well, for 100%, if you went on a medium, soft, you could do one.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to see the medium come into play, and that therefore, and Marco Pullen loses it badly round the 130R on the exit, goes into the wall, and that's such a shame because he was looking on a good lap there. So unfortunately, Marco Pullen has DNF'd. So very, very unfortunate for him there. I'm sure he's going to be pretty annoyed with that. John Dunkel sets the opening time there, and this is much better, isn't it? John Dunkel on that soft, 1:29.8.
Yeah.
So that was a good time from him. Martin Parder-Cooper, 1:30.8, so second off. Kevin Van Delft, new driver in the McLaren seat, only his third time, 1:32.3. And Guido Ehrschein's jumped in with a 1:32 on the soft. So John Dunkel putting in a blinding lap there. That came a bit out of nowhere from what we've been seeing from him in the previous queue.
Yeah, it did a bit. Yeah, good lap from John Dunkel, although Best of Breed's just gone half a second faster than that.
He has a 1:29.3, and that is on the softs as well. So, yeah, as expected, those times have come down. So we still got Miguel Tawney, Mark Stappers, Damien Hartman, Marcel Dronig, and Boy Williamson, and Marcel France, obviously, to come out. This looks to me as we're going to be looking, I would suspect we're going to be looking at a drop of probably, I'm going to say 130, high 131s. Well, actually,
Yeah,
no.
I think it's probably. I think it's going to be a
It's
bit
going to be
lower
less
than
than that, isn't it? It is, isn't it? It's probably going to be a high 130, actually.
High 130, yeah, something like that. 30.5.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go and say
130. I'll go 130.7. just for the hell of it. And Damien Hartman's actually retired from the session, and so he's retired out of the session. I don't know. I'm not too sure. Not too sure. He hasn't even set a time as yet. So we have had a few glitches. Let's hope that isn't a reoccurrence of that, and let's hope we move forward from there. But we will soon find out. So at this moment in time, Miguel Tawney, Mark Stappers and Boy Williamson still to set times. So I have to keep an eye on that and what's happening there. So we are running on board with Jerome Portmer, and he's into the pits.
Mark Stappers is on his out.
Mark Stappers, he's on his out lap, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, is Mark Stappers the driver who runs with all of this off and in cockpit view? Is that him?
That is correct. Well done, Adrian. Yes, it is indeed. I was just going to give him I always give him a shout out every race because it's an achievement in itself the way he races. So yeah, Mark Stappers is the only driver in F1 tonight that actually runs with all assists off and in cockpit view. So and Mark Stappers, just as a little sort of sideline, is actually the karting champion of 2018 for F1 tonight.
Is he?
He is, and quite convincingly, I have to say as well. I'll have to dial you into his YouTube so you can watch it, because he actually recorded it. It's yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Oh, great work. So
he's now on his hot lap, and it's not looking too bad, not looking shabby, certainly. We'll soon see as he drops down into the final sector how that time is looking, but from here it's not looking too bad actually at all.
I think he's going to be sort of third row at the moment on this current pace, maybe a bit further up than that. Well, it's quite tight, isn't it? Third, fourth and fifth. I think he's going to be.
It is.
He might be
high 129s. I think we could be looking at.
Yep.
In fact, I don't know though. I think, yeah, it is going to be a high 129. Yeah. Oh no, 130, 130.7, high 130. But does put him in that midfield, P7 provisionally at this moment in time. So, Boy Williamson and Marcel France still to set a time. Boy Williamson just sets a time now of 129.5, puts him in provisional P2 for this Q2. So great show from him. So only Marcel France now, and he's out on the super softs. So at this moment in time, that drop time is actually 132.0. Next closest is Miguel Tawney with a 130.9, so a little bit higher than we were expecting for this queue at this moment in time, but we do still have 6 minutes remaining. So I imagine
Portman will go out again.
Yeah, I would suspect he will, and I think Kevin Van Delft will certainly look to get a couple more laps down. I mean, they can certainly get, I would suspect, at least a couple of laps at this stage of the game.
Yeah, Marcel France is on the hot lap at the moment, looking not too bad actually, about the same kind of pace as Stappers. Should be enough to send him through.
Stappers did that 130.7, did something in P7 provisionally, but he's dropped down to 8 as Boy Williamson hadn't put in the time and has jumped up to 2. He's actually looking, I think, faster than Stappers. And I would say by about a second, actually. So this is looking a good lap. As he comes into Casino.
Yeah, he's going to beat him. I think he's going to go P6.
Yeah, the 129.9. So it was. Yeah, I thought so. Almost a second difference there. So Marcel France goes into P6 provisionally. That means that we now have Jerome Portma in the drop with that 132.0. Oh, sorry, Miguel Torni's in 10. He's on a 139. He's out on track. Jerome Portma, he's currently in the pit, so he's going to need to come out probably within the next minute if he's got an opportunity for a couple of laps. Miguel Torni, he's just coming into sector 3 now.
Van Delft has just retired, by the way, a few moments ago, so he's definitely out of this session.
So Van Delft, he's provisionally in P12. Doesn't feel as if he can better that time, so he's going to concentrate on the race. So he is currently P12, Damie Hartman 13 and Marco Pullen 14. Miguel Torni doesn't better that time. And, let's have a look at Jerome Portma, is still in the pits. So interesting. I would thought he'd be looking to come out relatively quickly because he's not going to get too many chances. He's just looking for an out lap and then a fast lap. So Miguel Torni just taking it easy, recuperating the energy, maintaining the heat in those tyres.
Now, this might not be significant, but Boy Wellington is the only driver to have taken 2 laps.
Oh dear, Miguel Torni goes off!
Oh dear.
Oh, and he's so lucky he didn't damage the car. Managed to hold it and narrowly avoided going into the barrier there as he was coming round, design a curve, completely lost it, loses it again now on hairpin because obviously he's got all that dirt on the tyre. That was very, very fortunate. He was heading pretty much nose first for that barrier and just managed to turn the wheels before he got to it.
We said that earlier on, didn't we, about this kind of curve and the track in general, actually, that you know, there's no real room for error. Just put one wheel on the grass and you've pretty much lost it. So he's lucky to keep the car not, you know, not quite in one piece. But
in one piece.
DNF'd.
He's lucky to keep it in one piece, and I don't even think he had any wind damage. So I think he didn't actually hit anything. So he was very, very fortunate there. So let's hope he can pull his stuff together. And, no, I don't think. No, he didn't hit anything, so he shouldn't have any damage. He might come in, I don't know. But
he's in that.
Jerome Portma.
I was just going to say just about Torni. He's in that horrible situation now. He's only got 2 minutes left. He's got dirt on his tyres. He's already used those tyres for a couple of laps. And he's in P10, so he needs to do another lap, but he won't want to use those tyres.
He does, but whether he's going to have enough time or not, that's another question. Jerome Portma is out on track now, so he's on his out lap, so he is going to do just the out lap and then the fast lap. Now this is critical. He needs to shave a couple of seconds off his time. That's what he needs to do, at least a second and a half.
Interesting as well, his teammate Marcel France, he's going out for another hot lap, it seems. He's in P6, he's in no danger of not making it to the next session.
No,
all he's doing is wearing out. Yeah, all he's doing is wearing out his tyres that bit more for the race.
Yeah, bit.
It's a new set though.
I've got to agree. Or maybe he's just looking to scrub them and you know, so they're ready for the race, and that would suggest that he could be looking at a 2-stop. Maybe a soft, or rather a super soft. God, what would he go there? He'd have to go super soft, soft, super soft, or super soft, super soft, soft.
Yeah.
So he could be looking at a 2-stop. Jerome Portma coming round now to start that hot lap. And there is no way, I think, that Miguel Torni is going to be able to make it. He's got 20 seconds. He's not even out of the pit. So Miguel Torni, he's not going to be able to respond to this. This is down now to Jerome Portma in the Toro Rosso. Can he do it on the knockings of this Q2? Can he scrape in to Q3? Can he knock a second and a half off his time? we are very, very soon going to find out as he comes round. Designer curve now. Round 8, round 9. We saw him lose it earlier on there. Nice and neat.
He's already the second up. He's second up on his own time.
So he's a second up. He needs to get that other half second. So he really needs to get pedal to the metal now. As he comes round 12. Approaching spoon curve. We've got the downhill now as he comes round. Hits the bottom of that valley there, and then on the exit starts coming uphill over the track, building up speed all the way round 130R. This is foot to the ground as he comes round. Nicely done there, nicely done into the casino. Set of corners now, final corner. As he gets onto that start-finish straight, can he do it? No!
Yes.
130.9, he does it! 9.45! Oh my God, I thought he hadn't done it. 9.45, my goodness me! 3/100ths of a second, bang on! 3/100ths of a second, and Jerome Portmer pulls it out of the bag for Toro Rosso, scrapes his way into Q3 and pushes Miguel Torni in the Force India into P11. Kevin Van Delft in the McLaren will be starting in row 6. P12, Damie Hartman for Haas will be in row 7, P13, and Marco Pullen for Sauber will be in P14. Well, Damie Hartman, that's a bit of a shame. I think he would have been expecting that Haas driver to get into that queue, so he's not going to be too happy with that. But John Dunkel's quite impressive, I've got to say, on there. Basta Breen, we know, is pretty much really where we would expect it to be. Boy Williamson in the Haas with provisional second place there. And that was really, really some going, to say the least.
Yeah, no, fair play to Portman for putting the effort in where it was needed and making it through, albeit by 3/100ths of a second, which is, that's about the time it takes to click your fingers. So, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So there you go, confirmation of the guys in the drop zone there. Miguel Torni, Kevin Van Delft, Damie Hartman, Marco Pullen. Just as a comparison, at 129.3 set by Basta Breen in Q2. In the real world Q2, the fastest time in 2018 was set by Valtteri Bottas in a Mercedes. Wait for it, with a 127.987.
Oh God.
That is phenomenal. So we did not beat the real world's Q2 time for first place. We're actually off by just over a second, was it? 1.2, I think.
Yeah. That is interesting.
So we are now into Q3. There are our runners and riders, our gladiators for this Japanese samurai fight here at Suzuka. And look at that, first man out of the pits, John Donkel. He is keen to get out there. Boy Williamson coming out just behind him in the Haas. And there he goes, off to start his outlap. And let's have a look now. Now all these guys should be on the super softs, one would expect, and they are indeed. So everybody is on those super softs. So we follow John round the S curves now. He comes up round turn 7. Down into designer curve. Taking it nice and easy. Stapper's still in the pit. Mulder still in the pit. Portmer and France as well, so they're just waiting.
Just while they're on their outlaps, Eddie, I know that we do this a lot in Synergy. We've done it a couple of times here. I wonder if you've got a favourite for propositions.
Oh, Adrian. Adrian, you got there before I did. Okay, this is so difficult because we saw it last week, and I'm going to go with Guido Airshine.
You know what? That could be a good call. I think he'll be front row personally. I don't think he'll take the pole position. I think that's going to go to the Ferrari man.
So you think Bastabreen? So Adrian is shouting Bastabreen for pole, and as always, not wishing to go with the probably the right decision. Let's be fair, but I want to go something a bit different. So I'm going to go Guido Airshine in the Renault. But
I think if
John. Yep.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you again, Eddie. I think if
no, that's all right. You carry on. Don't worry. Feel free. Anytime. It's between friends. It's not a problem.
Good. If Airshine can get on the front row, I think he might just win this race.
Well, I think he does sound a good chance. He had a great race in Singapore. Unfortunately, we didn't have a great broadcast with a few issues. He had a good race last week as well, and I think I think it was it was certainly a good race at Monza. So let's see. I think he's on a roll. We will see how that pans out. But John Donkel, he did impress me in that Q2, and we have seen John Donkel really performing very well in recent races. So let's not discount the Force India driver here, because I think he stands a good chance. He's just coming round Casino now, and he's probably going to be on about a 129, I would suspect.
Yeah, Donkel and Pardew
129.0.
They're both at the same sector 2 times. Donkel and Pardew. I think he's going to look quick in the Red Bull. Yeah.
Yeah, Pardew for 129.8, so just there. Guido Airshine, a 128.9.
Great
so
time.
Provisional there, 130.2 from his teammate Marcel Dronig. Bastabreen 128.4, so 5/10 between Airshine and
that's pretty
De Bruyne.
consistent. It's consistent with De Bruyne's times. After second up.
Well, let's see how that pans out now. Rob Mulder, we are with, still to set a time. Mark Stappers as well. Portma and France, both the Toro Rosso still in the pits. And Mark Stappers set to 130.09. This is amazing. That really is. So it's 2 seconds and 2.001 seconds exactly off John Donkel's time. Shame he, could have done a little bit more than that, but there you go. So Rob Mulder now coming round Casino into the final corner, onto that start-finish straight. It's looking good. Let's see, 129.2. So Rob Mulder puts himself in the second row there. P4, well, that 129.2 at this moment. Still just under 7 minutes remaining of this session, and the Toro Rossos are still in the pit. Interesting. They sort of shy, or are they just waiting for the track to get up to temperature and get some rubber down?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're waiting for, I think. Just get the rubber on track. They've both come out probably not too far apart to try and get the most out of their cars when it counts.
Yeah, well, that's a fair comment. You can't knock them for that. So
I think
everyone has set a
now,
time. Let's have a look. Yeah. Marcel France is on his way out now. So Marcel France for Toro Rosso, first Toro Rosso out on the track. He's doing, I think he's trying to do a start there. Not probably the best of places, just before turn 1 and 2. First turn.
Rob Mulder's actually gone purple in the first sector. He's lost a little bit of time in the second though. I think he's still going to improve. I think he's going to be second row.
Wow. Well, let's have a look at that then. Rob Mulder comes across.
Yeah.
Got a 129.0. Yep, goes into P4. As you quite rightly said, second row. So he's pushed John Donkel down into the third row, P5 at this moment in time. And let's go back with Marcel France now, and he's, oh dearie me, not ideal. He's on the tail of Mark Stappers, who's, I think maybe on a fast lap, but he doesn't really want to get too close. That's a little bit unfortunate there.
Well, Stapper's lap is actually invalid right now, so I don't think, well, I hope the Stappers would make that sort of obvious to the driver behind.
Yeah, but he is on an out lap, so I goes, it's no great shakes for Marcel France, but he probably wanted to get a little bit more of a feel into it. But maybe Stappers might come in at the end here and then release him, so it's probably why he's just hung back a little bit there as though coming into the third sector. I thought he was on a fast lap, but he was actually on his out lap, so that's okay.
Yeah,
he's now coming into his fast lap. So off he goes. Round first turn. That's turns 1 and 2. And a really, really, I mean, this surprisingly, I think, can be maybe one of the trickiest corners in the track, because it's one of those that you get into the flow of the track, but that first turn, or turn 1 and 2, it's a different rhythm to the rest of the track, and you've got to be really, really careful, because any slip of focus and you're off.
Yeah, but learning to sort of do those two corners in the context of the entire circuit is a bit like a drummer trying to sort of tap his foot to a different rhythm while his hands and his other foot play.
It is, isn't it? It's not just me. Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because that is the sensation I get. You feel as if you get comfortable with this track. You feel as if you know you've got into the rhythm of it, and then all of a sudden you come into that first turn and it's just, whoa, where's my rhythm gone?
Yeah.
So Marcel France actually is not looking too bad at this moment in time.
No, it's good. It's 32.5 and 40.0 for the first and second sectors. I think it's going to be up there with Romaldo. It might push him down.
Wow, so we might be looking at a second row here for this Toro Rosso drive. 129.5. Not a million miles off. He's about 5/10 off there, and we can just see Basta Breen coming out on track behind him. So he's got midfield. He's in P6. It's not looking too shabby. His teammate is still in the pits though. So Jerome Palmer's not keen to come out. Oh, and he's just spun it around the S-curves. I think he's trying to get out of the way of De Breen. And he's gone off track around the S-curves there. But I don't think there's any damage to the vehicle. It was a solo incident, so hopefully no wing damage there. And De Breen is now on his out lap. Erskine is still in the pits. Boy Williamson is out on track as well. And let's not discount Boy Williamson. And indeed, I mean, any of those guys at the moment in P3 to 5, Williamson, Mulder and Dunkel, I think they're all very capable of getting on that second row. So it could be quite a fight we might see between them. And indeed, you know, certainly between Dunkel and Mulder, there's well, next to nothing in it, 600ths.
Yeah, quite right. I mean, if they do qualify as they are right now, you know, from skill alone, I think any of the top 5, really, top 6, have the potential to win this race.
Well, is De Breen going to lay down an even better time for this now as he comes round the final set of turns, and let's see what he can do. And just a quick update here, the Pearl time set in Q3 in 2018 was actually set by the wonderful Lewis Hamilton and was a 127.76.
Boy's just gone a few tenths ahead of Erskine.
He has. He's pulled a 128.62. So 3/10 ahead of Erskine, pushes Erskine into that second row with Mulder alongside him.
He won't want me to say this, but he was actually on for pole position, but lost it in the last sector. Might have even been the last corner.
Wow. So Boy is clearly looking very good on this track at this moment in time. Well, certainly in quali he is. So this could be interesting. We've only got 20 seconds remaining. Erskine doesn't look like he's going to come out. And that's it. He's in P3, so Erskine will be in P3. John Donkel is provisional P5. Although he's on his out lap, I don't know if he's going to make it. Let's have a look. No, he isn't going to make it. So John Donkel will be in P5. Marcel France, I think he's on a hot lap. So I don't think he's going to better his time. Martin Parder-Cooper, he's there. Marcel Dronig is out on a lap. Mark Stappers. Jerome Portmer. Jerome Portmer is, well, there's nothing he can do. He's invalidated. That's it. Oh, and he's just crashed it in frustration going into the pits and hits the barrier as he goes in.
Yeah, I think that was intentional there.
Well, I think it was probably a bit of frustration because he realised that was it. But there we have it.
Steppers has just spun it on the design of the curve again.
He has on turn 9. Well, on the exit of turn 8, I think that would have been. And he's basically done the same as God, who was it that did that earlier? Was it Rob Mulder? Or no, Mark? No, it was Jerome, wasn't it? Jerome Portman earlier on.
Yeah.
So he's done the same there effectively. So there you have it. Boy Williamson does get that pole position with a 128.4. So fantastic. He just missed as we were talking. But look at this, 128.411. Boy Williamson, Bas de Breen, 128.441. So, oh dear, a bit of a collision going here between the drivers, but that's pretty much it. But good God, I mean, that's 0.03 of a second between them there. Yeah. That is phenomenal. Guido Erskine will be in second row, P3. Rob Mulder will be alongside him in the Williams. John Donkel is P3, row 3, P5. Marcel France in the Toro Rosso will be alongside him. Row 4 will be Martin Parder-Cooper in the Red Bull. Alongside him will be Marcel Dronig in the Renault. And in the 5th row will be Mark Stappers in the McLaren P9. And Jerome Portmer will be P10. So, well, we both got it wrong.
We did. I think Boy Williamson may have heard me say that he could have got pole had it not been for that last couple of corners, because his pole lap there was basically the opposite of the previous lap. He actually went slower in the first and second sectors and then got purple in the final sector. He's 4 tenths faster than he was previously.
Oh my God, so if he'd strung all those together, he would have easily got into a 127 situation then.
Yep, yeah, he would have, yeah.
It just goes to show you, you've got to go purple in all the sectors to really do it. But he still pulls it out of the bag with that purple final sector 3 and takes 0.03 of a second out of Bas de Breen to take that pole. That said, though, there are those that could say the advantage is actually in second on the grids when you're coming into first turn.
Yeah, lots of people do believe that. I'm a firm believer in the P2 spot being advantageous at this circuit.
So we could well see Bas de Breen actually take it out of Boy Williamson for first place in that first corner. So watch that fight. I think also Erskine, he's going to definitely get in the mix, as is Mulder. And I think it's going to be pretty interesting with the guys that are in P11 and 12 trying to come through as well, because we've got some guys at the back there that we wouldn't necessarily expect to be there. We know are fast drivers, so it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Mm-hmm. So we will be going into the processional lap. And Adrian, as you were so kind to get me to select who was going to be on pole, I can only but reciprocate, my friend, and ask you who you believe is going to win this race.
Oh God! This is me plug my crystal ball back in, and I think it might be. I really want to say Erskine, but I don't know. Boy Williamson has just completely thrown me off now. No, I'll stick with Erskine. I think he's got it.
Okay, well, you go with Erskine, and I'm going to go with de Breen.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fair comment.
Yeah, you know, I just think he has the, you know, he's got great race capability, race pace, generally always good strategy as well. He has had obviously DNF situations, and it does prove frustrating because he does certainly push. So there is every possibility that could happen, but I'm going to go with Debris. So we'll just go through our drivers here. And Boy Williamson, he's in P1 for Haas. Second, Bastabreen for Ferrari. Row 2, Guido Airshine for Renault alongside him. Rob Mulder in the Williams. Row 3, John Donkel in the Force India, Marcel France. Row 4, Martin Parder Cooper and Marcel Dronig in the Renault. Row 5, Mark Schnappers and Jerome Portmer. Row 6, Miguel Torney in the Force India, Kevin Van Delft in the McLaren. Row 7, Damie Hartman. Watch this man who will come through the field in the Haas. And alongside him in row 7 will be Marco Pullen. Watch him as well. Zada Hermans in a Mercedes. He's in row 8. Alongside him, Nicky Visser. Keep an eye on Nicky. He will certainly be looking to come through the field there. Stan and, oh, that's it. Yeah, 16 drivers. Sorry, I was going to Stan Drunkov and go into the whole lot there, but there you have it. So, tyres. Let's have a look at these tyres here. And so the first 5 all on the softs. Then we've got a bit of a super soft, soft, super soft, soft mix going on. And then from 10 to 13, they are all on the super softs as well. And the rest of the runners are, apart from Marco Pullen. So Marco Pullen clearly looking to go a little bit deeper in there. And Nicky Visser on those super softs, that's a definite I'm going to be coming through, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's interesting that the drivers outside the top 10 have still opted for the super soft tyres. Obviously, they're looking to push their way through the pack early on, rather than sort of, go for the longer stint early on. Personally, I would have gone for the medium tyre, starting in those positions. But no, fair play to them if they won this race rather than wait out.
And I think by the look of these tyres, we are going to be looking at majority. Well, I think it's going to certainly be at least 2 stops.
Yeah, I think so.
So the drivers are now on the grid, getting ready, forming up. Last driver coming in now onto the grid. Lights will be getting underway. And there we have, and they are off now for the start of this race. And oh my goodness, a bit of a jump start there. I think from the top, also in the background of Jerome Portmer. I think there was a few, there's a bit of a jump there, but we watch this now. And Boy Williamson does maintain that first place. Bastabreen does take it. Bastabreen does take the place. So Bastabreen does move ahead. And Boy Williamson gets first place. Boy Williamson second. Rob Mulder in third. John Donkel's moved up to 4th. Guido Airshine has dropped 2 down to 5. Marcel France, he stays where he are. Marcel Dronig stays where he is. Jerome Portmer up 2. Kevin Van Delft up 3. Miguel Tordi up 1. Nicky Visser already up 5 from the back of the grid and fighting here now with Miguel Torni as they're coming round Designer Curve. Takes the place from him. Nicely done. Moves up into 10th place. Good start there from Nicky Visser. And Bastabreen is already starting to pull away from Boy Williamson. Rob Mulder is on the gearbox of Boy Williamson in that Haas, as is John Donkel on his as well. Guido Airshine a little bit further behind. He's, as I said, he's dropped down 2, so he hasn't come off very well there at all. And Marcel France says, oh dear, and Marcel Dronig going wide as they're coming around the Dunlop.
I did have confirmation of 5 drivers got a jump start at the start of this race. They're all going to have to set drive-throughs. That's Damie Hartman, Marco Pullen, Kevin Van Delft, Miguel Torni and Jerome Portman all got drive-throughs.
And do you know why?
Yeah, they jumped the start. It was very late green light very late start of the race.
Oh,
And,
hang
yeah,
on.
they just-
Virtual
they
safety
won
car
it.
is out. VSC is on. Davey Hartman, Marco Pullen, Zander Herman's all into the pits. And I think there's an incident there with Kevin Van Delft and Nicky Visser, because they are both greyed out. I think there was an incident there with those guys. Zander Hermans is in the pits. Marco Pullen in the pits. I think, yeah, Nicky Visser is out. And I think there may have been a collision there with Kevin Van Delft. Martin Pardekub's got a 5-second stop-go for ignoring the yellow flag. Oh dear. Not what you're looking for there, my friend. So he's going to be a bit disappointed with that, the Red Bull driver. And Jerome Port has left the session. And I'm sure there was an incident there, clearly, with Nicky Visser and Kevin Van Delft, which we didn't catch. I'm sure we will find out in the summary what happened there. So we are down to 13 drivers, lap 2. Oh dear, not really what you wanted to have, but not necessarily surprising on the opening of this race, is it, Adrian?
No, it's not. That's the thing with Formula 1 starts, you know, pretty much anything can happen, and when it does happen, it's normally something big.
Yeah.
And yeah, the end of we've seen it there. I don't know what was up with the lights though. That was a very unusual.
It was a long one.
Start sequence.
DRS has now been enabled. Bastianini is pulling out ahead of Boy Williamson. And let's have a quick reminder here of those tyre choices. So all the front 4 are on the super soft. So Rob Mulder is still in the mix. He's just over a second behind Williamson. Guido Airshine equally just a second behind him. So still pretty close between those front 4. Marcel France, he's hot on the heels of Guido Airshine, and he does have an advantage with the super softs. And John Donkel is on his tail as well, and he's 6/10 off the back of that Toro Rosso as well. So very, very close still between these front runners from 1 to 6, really.
Yeah, it's all pretty close. No one driver is really leaning away from anyone. Yeah, that's interesting.
No,
I think
France.
I think France might be one to keep an eye on. Just being on the super soft tyres. I wonder if they can make the most of that.
Well, he's got a relatively small window. He's probably got around about maybe 10, 12 laps, 10 to 14. Oh, look at that!
Oh,
Guido Airshine really goes off the track there. Really scrapes it. Sorry, that's Marcel France.
Yeah, France.
Really scrapes it, doesn't he?
He sprayed the dirt in John Dunkel's face right behind him.
Yeah. Bastianini sets the provisional fastest lap, 1:34. I think John Donkel is going to be looking to make a move now onto Marcel France. And this is the section to do it, and you can see, look at that, he's really closed him down round first turn. Damien Hartman beats that time with a 1:33.6.
He's absolutely flying.
He is.
Up to the super soft. Yeah, I think he's trying to act revenge, perhaps on those start lights.
Well, the other thing I was going to say as well is that I was somewhat preemptive on the start, and I'm wondering if those guys weren't watching the stream and suddenly thought, "Oh my God, it started," and that also caused it.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, possibly. As Marcel France has got his 3-second penalty for multiple warnings.
John Donkel is hot on his tail as they're coming round the closing corners of Sector 2 into Sector 3.
Donkel's looking confident in this track.
He is, isn't he? I'm inclined to agree with you on that one. So they're coming round the 130R now. Any second. There we go. Now this is his opportunity, Donkel, here. Get close and personal with that Toro Rosso. Pick up that DRS. He's got the opportunity. He's got to stay with him, though, through these sets of corners. Now this is his opportunity to get the move done before they get into first turn. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty straightforward move. Yeah.
Good move.
Good move. well planned and executed there. John Donkel moves up into 5th place. And he's now 3 seconds behind Guido Erschein. So these front 4 have opened up the pace. Guido 5/10 off the back of Rob Mulder. Rob Mulder now is 1.5 seconds behind Williamson. And Williamson's nearly 2 seconds behind De Bruyne. De Bruyne is really laying it down, isn't he?
He is, yeah, although you could say perhaps not at the pace that he has done in previous races. I don't think he's as strong on this track, sorry, as he had been in the past.
No, I tend to agree with you. It's not. I don't think it's one of his. I don't think it's a favoured track. Let's put it like that. And Marco Pullen puts in a 1:33, and clearly those super soft runners are delivering the times. But the trouble is, they're at the back of that pack. They've got an awful lot of time. They need to catch up, and they've only got limited laps to do it within.
Yeah, it's going to. Well, I was going to say it's going to feel like a long race, but it probably won't feel like a long race. It's probably not long enough for them to absolutely to where they want to be.
So, quick refresh here. We would expect the super soft runners to be coming in the low teens. I would expect the soft runners to probably come in around about 20s and low 20s. So, I mean, you can go 2 stops here, but you have to go pretty deep on those softs, really. You're going to have to go... Well, you can't do it. I don't think you can do it. I mean, you can try. I'm sure that there will be some drivers that try it, but you're going to have to go into the 30s to do a 1-stop.
Yeah, you probably want to do... a 2-stop going from the supers to the softs and then another set of softs. I think that's probably the safest bet, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, one.
So super soft, soft, super soft. Or if you started on the super softs, if you started on super softs, go super soft, soft, super soft. If you started on the softs, then you're probably going to go soft, super soft, super soft.
Yeah, using double super softs, that's probably a bit too aggressive for me, personally.
Well, we will see what happens. I mean, there is also the option of the medium, but we haven't seen anyone on the mediums in the quali, so that's why I would suggest that I don't think we're going to see any in the race.
Well, I beg to differ. I think one of the top 5 starters might be on the soft to medium strategy.
Okay. Is that where you're going to leave it? You're going to leave us hanging, Adrian?
Yeah, I've just got an inkling. I've just got an inkling.
So you think one of them, but you don't know which one?
Yeah. I think they're all thinking about what they're going to do during the race.
Oh, Guido Erschein is now being closed down by John Donkel in the Force India. And John clearly a lover, I think, of this first corner, because he does have that down to a T. He really closes down on the cars ahead of him. Not so confident through the S's there, hitting a little bit of dirt as he's coming round turn 6, I think it was, or 5. Coming round Dunlop now. Going to be dropping down to Designer. There you go. Round 9 under the bridge. And he is now, well, just a second over. He was right down to about 5/10 behind Erschein. So he's dropped a little bit back, probably because he is in that dirty air. But he is definitely closing down on that Renault, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job of closing down. Sort of my favourite driver for this race. I mean, yeah, I want Donkel to do as well as possible, but yeah, no, it'd be nice to see Erschein take the win. He's got a lot to do if he wants that, though.
Yeah, he has got a fight on his hands, but he's still in there. I mean, he's at the moment, let's see, 4 or 5, about 6 seconds adrift of the leader, so it's not insurmountable. We are on lap 8 of 53, so early doors, yeah. It will be interesting to see how this pans out, though, that's for sure. And the field now sort of opening up, but I know that obviously the pit stops are going to start making a difference, and I expect them to be happening within the next 6 or 7 laps, potentially.
Oh, Marco Pullen's just retired.
He has.
Two
Pullen has
up there.
DNF'd.
What was that? That was spin?
Let's go on board with debris. We might catch it. But he
I think
has
it was
DNF'd.
Yeah, I think it was the inside of Spoon.
Oh, wow.
It must have bounced off a wall perhaps and ended up on the inside.
Well, that's the only option. Yeah, the only thing I can think. We're going round Spoon now with debris. Can't see anything. Oh, some wreckage off to the right there. There he was. Yeah, he was on the left-hand side. So he was on the left-hand side on the exit of turn 14. Spoon clearly must have probably gone on to the right-hand side, hit the dirt, spun him off left. And that is unfortunately Marco Pullen out. So both Saubers out, and this is not good for Sauber. I mean, they are currently third in the constructors on 192 points, but Red Bull are only 20 points behind them. So this is really not good for Sauber, nor for Visser, or Pullen indeed.
Yeah. No, I genuinely believe, because we'll start this race, I believe that Visser and Pullen were going to sort of be two of the drivers that are going to fight their way up the pack. Yeah, but I don't know, it just wasn't to be today.
No, it is unfortunately one of those tracks, and it's not uncommon to claim its victims. And we're running at the moment with Guido Erschein, and he is starting to close down now on Mulder. So he's pulled away from Domkel in a very convincing way, and he's closing down on Mulder. So that would suggest to me that he's got to be using some of that ERS.
Yeah, his engine is in, well, his battery at least is running a bit low in comparison to the driver ahead of him. Yeah, it looks like he's got to be lining up and move in the next lap or two, if not sooner than that.
Certainly looks that way. They're coming now to the knockings of Sector 2 and round Spoon Curve. This is where Pullen lost it on the previous lap. And Erschein nice and easy round there. He's 6/10 off the back of Mulder, ahead of him in the Williams. Coming round 130R now. And this is close. Let's watch him now through Casino Triangle. Final corner now. He's still a little bit too far off. I don't think the DRS, he's got DRS, but I don't think it's going to be enough to make the move before they go into first corner, first turn.
The battery's dead. Yeah, you're going to have to wait now. To stay up with charge and then get it going in a couple of months' time.
Well, he's hot on the heels of Mulder as they're going through the S-curves, and we'll stay in cockpit view just to give you a good representation of what it's like. It is a real roller coaster ride round there, and Erschein just losing a bit of traction round 5, drops a little bit further back now behind Mulder as they're going round Dunlop. And but he's still maintaining that a good distance. He's still under the second, so as long as he can maintain that and start to replenish, and he should be able to replenish fairly quickly through that sector. A little bit more difficult now as when they come into the third sector, but certainly it seems to be charging pretty well. So it shouldn't be too long before he can maybe lay down a power, maybe not so harshly, but he certainly will have that. And he needs to close down because we are now on lap 10, and we do expect the super soft runners to be coming in within the next probably 5 laps, 6 laps, or within that window. That will obviously leave the runners out on the soft, so the winners here could well be Parda Cooper and Stappers down in 8 and 9, because they could very quickly jump a couple of places.
Yep, yeah, they could do quite easily. And be looking at their mirrors. You can see a hat's very close, very soon. That was Marcus Dronig.
So Marcel Dronig is in after 10 laps. So that's the Renault driver, and he will drop down to P10. Damie Hartmann is still out on track, and he is trying to close down to Stappers, but I don't think there's really much point because Stappers is in for a lot. Now this is going to be interesting because Stappers normally does have phenomenal tyre wear But I don't know if he's going to be able to maintain that around this Suzuka track.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, but yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. Part of me is still actually thinking whether he's going to go for a one-stop from the softs onto a set of supers. Impossible for everybody else.
I'm thinking. Do you know what? If anyone can do it, Stappers can. So let's keep an eye on that one, because I would suspect from previous races that is indeed what he's looking at. And we're just gone back to Guido Ershine now, and he is really, really closing down that Williams ahead of him as they come round the 130R into Casino Triangle. We'll stay in this view. Lovely overhead view there. Let's hope we can keep that onto the straight. So there he is, coming around the final corner. And the Williams goes defensive. He goes to the right-hand side of the track. Can he do it? He moves again. That's it. He can't move again.
The battery, he's pushing too hard too early. Although he's...
Oh, and he's gone wide. He's gone wide. He's gone wide, but he comes back on track. He's still on that gearbox of the Williams. Now, Ershine is a little bit smoother through here. So all he needs to do, keep it smooth, keep it smooth. And he could possibly make the move on Dunlop. I don't know, but no, he can't now. That's it. But he's still got the opportunity, I think, on that hairpin on 11. All he's got to do is stay right on the gearbox.
Both drivers have completely killed their batteries with this battling. Neither one wants to risk trying to save up the battery to be able to defend, because it gives the other driver a chance to pass.
Well, I think Ershine just went a little bit too early on the attack there. I think he could have probably, built up a couple of laps and left that fall and pushed Mulder a little bit more to use that ERS and then taking the. I think he's just done the charge a little bit too early on Mulder. Yeah. Personally.
There we go. He's going a bit wiser now. He's leaving it a little bit later before pushing up to mode 4. I still don't think it's enough battery though. Needs to give it a couple of laps.
I think he does. He wants to make the move on track though. I mean, he will have DRS. Let's have a look now. He's within 4/10. This is doable with the DRS only. It is very doable. And look at this. He's closing right in on the back of that Williams. But, oh, can he do it now as they come round? He's on the inside. No, can't quite manage it. It still stays on that gearbox. And this is where he needs to replenish now. On these corners, this is the ideal source material for that ERS. And still stay within sight. And I think he needs to do that for about another 2 or 3 laps. And still, use it wisely. Use it wisely. Oh, look at that. Nearly into the back of the Williams there. That was close. Well, I think that Mulder just misstepped a little bit as he was coming into designer, and that's why gave Guido the opportunity to close him down and nearly have relations with his with the rear of his car there. But
indeed. Further at the sort of back of this pack. Dronic's just made a move on Franza. Been on the
so Marcel France in the Toro Rosso's just had 9th place taken from him by Marcel Dronig, and Marcel Dronig on aggressive here because he's gone again on the super soft, so he's gone super soft.
Yep, he's obviously obviously likes those supers. I wonder if he's going to even be looking at a 3-stop.
Not unknown for the Renault driver to do the extra pit stop. He is quite aggressive generally when it comes to his strategy, so I wouldn't be surprised by that. Ershine still on the back of Mulder.
Yeah, he's got a bit more battery now.
He does, but he's going to have to make it count. Mulder is now starting to pull a little bit away from him, but he's replenishing. I mean, that's the thing. He's got to stay under the seconds, stay behind him, but try and get as much ERS replenishment as he can, as I say, and obviously sectors 1 and 2 are the ideal source material for that. And then you want to lay it down really, sort of sector 3 and on that start-finish straight. If you've got the DRS as well, that's the ideal.
So he's pushed the battery up now. Got plenty of it.
Well, hang back, take it easy. Miguel Torney's got a 5-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane. So Miguel Torney in for pit stop, but gets a 5-second penalty for speeding. Oh dear, not what the Force India driver wanted. But he's still, I mean, he's got potential points. Regardless, he's just got to stay out there, never give up. Stay out there, never give up. Because you never ever know what can happen. And look at this, Airshine's so desperate to try and see if he can make the move in this first sector, but I think it's risky. He just wants to stay there and bide his time, stay close, but don't try and make the move in that first sector. Oh, he goes right there. Oh, dearie me. Onto the gravel. Not what he wanted. Not what he wanted at all. And that's not going to do his tyres any favours.
No, and also being behind someone for so long like that, so close behind, it really does overheat your tyres so much, and that is a result of it. Unfortunately, it's such a minute window. You need to keep these tyres in sort of temperature-wise, and as soon as you come out of the side of that, that's it. You sort of lose all grip.
Yeah, that is it, and it's reflected. Look at this, he's nearly 3 seconds behind Mulder now, so he dropped basically about 2.5 seconds there, quite easily with that error. Now the question is, what does he do though? You know, he's on lap 14, he's now 3 seconds behind. Okay, ideal time to maybe boost that ERS and get it right up, but is he going to try and, I think this is the ideal opportunity to try and do the undercut on Mulder.
Yeah, that's probably the wisest thing that he can do at this point. Mulder, in the meantime, is completely
and he's in. He's in. Ershine is in.
That's a good move. Yeah, no, that's sound. Yeah.
I think that was a very, very wise move there from the Renault driver, and he's going to drop down to P6, and he's going onto the super soft, so he's going for a charge. So Ershine is in. Lap 16, well, lap 15 in, lap 15 goes on to the super softs, and this is going to be very interesting indeed, because he's got now a window of probably, well, now lesser fuel load, maybe 12 laps, and that's going to probably come in pretty close to those guys ahead on the softs, and we could see Ershine actually get right up into the top 3 in about another sort of 8 to 10 laps time, I think.
Yeah, he will do. Of course, he will have to pit again. So yeah, we'll see how he does in the final stint. But yeah, certainly he'll be up there for a period. In the meantime, Mulder's using that battery now to its sort of full capacity. He's been in mode 4 since Ershine pitted in. Obviously saw that he pitted in and decided he was going to make the most of not having anyone around him. Yeah,
basically try and open it up so that he can actually negate and cancel out Ershine's possible undercut there. I think that's what he's looking at, so it's important that he does get pedal to the metal and get those times in and get those quick sectors in and try and get as far ahead as from Ershine as he possibly can.
Ershine's just gone fastest in the second sector though, so he's obviously retaliating.
Oh, he's certainly responding.
Fastest in the last. Yeah.
He is certainly responding at this moment in time, and this is going to be a very interesting battle to see how this pans out. Now, I'm looking at, I'm just trying to think, we're probably looking, I would suspect, around about 20 seconds for that pit stop. So as it stands at this moment in time, let's have a look. 8, 16, 20. He is roughly a pit stop behind. So Ershine is roughly a pit stop behind Williamson at the moment. So Mulder, and Mulder may well have done enough to get out, but it is close. I think he really needs to try and get at least another couple of seconds, if he can, gap to Erskine to negate that possible undercut from the Renault driver. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Mulder is only on 16 laps, and we did expect these to probably go to sort of the 20s, early 20s, but that could have been a miscalculation. The Breen is still out on them, Williamson's still out on them, and Mulder is still out on them. So
yeah,
this is going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on.
These soft tyres, I mean, yeah, they are usable up until, you know, whatever it is, about 22, 25, but they're really warm, and you know, you do lose a lot of time on warm tyres, especially against brand new super softs. Yeah, he won't be able to get any further away from Sean, but he's got to try and reduce the amount that Sean can gain on him. That's what he's trying to do, like with using the battery.
Yeah, that's what he needs to do. Now, I'm just running on board with Toro Rosso Marcel France here, and this is an interesting little turn up for the books. He's actually closing down on Marcel Dronig, who's on those super softs. First driver to come in and go onto the super soft, Marcel Dronig. He's on 7-lap-old super softs. France is on 6-lap-old softs, and he's catching him up.
It is. I don't know how he's done that. But yeah, because they're roughly the same age tyre. Although I know the super soft doesn't last too long, so it's probably beyond its peak, should we say?
Dronig did come in previously on lap 9 to go onto those super softs, so it could be that just by the nature of the setup, the way he drives, he actually eats into those fairly quickly, and it could be that indeed that they've actually dropped off, which has allowed France to catch up on those softs. Yeah.
Yeah, quite right. It's kind of a sort of a similar situation to the Erskine versus Mulder scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mulder is still out, as are all the front 5 drivers. They are all the soft runners from the start of this race, and Erskine is definitely eating into that. I mean, that gap to Stappers was 4 seconds. He's now got it down to under a second. So Erskine is now closing in on that McLaren of Stappers.
France has made it. France has made a pass on Dronig.
Yeah, so France does make the pass on Dronig, and that was in turn first turn, was it? It must have been, yeah.
It was first turn, yeah, it was.
Yeah, so France in the Toro Rosso does make the move. So clearly those super softs of Dronig have dropped right off, so he's going to have to be coming in again now, and I suspect he's probably going to go onto the softs. I don't know, but we will see. Erskine is now 4/10 off the back of that McLaren of Stappers, and I think he could well make the move actually before they get to R130. I don't know, but I've got a feeling he might be able to do that.
Yeah, he's most certainly going for it.
Yeah, definitely. Side by side by McLaren. Yeah, Stappers isn't really going to play ball, but he slots in behind him. There's not an awful lot he could do about it, I think. So Erskine does. Yeah, absolutely. Erskine takes now 6th place from Stappers, and he's now only 17 seconds behind Mulder. So I think Mulder's little idea of laying the power down and trying to stay ahead, I think that's done and dusted.
Yeah, well, right. And Stappers is in as well. He's the first one of the soft sides to come in. That is unusual for him.
Yeah, it is very unusual. I would have expected Stappers to go deeper, but he's gone on to the super soft. So this is going to be interesting now. What's going to happen with these guys ahead?
I'm showing softs on my screen.
You Stappers, I've got. Yes, sorry, softs. Yeah, sorry, it is softs. Yeah, I do apologise. Yeah. So he's gone on to the softs from lap 19. We're running with Basta Breen now, our race leader. Convincing at this moment in time. He's 4.8 seconds ahead of Boy Williamson now as he comes around R130 and into the Casino Triangle. He is staying out. And Boy Williamson is staying out as well. Rob Mulder now coming over. Now, what is Mulder going to do? Is he going to stay out or is he going to come in? He stays out. John Donkel out as well. I think John is looking to close down. Now, interestingly, I've got John Donkel showing as red wall, but my information does show him to be on the softs.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely to see this glitch hasn't gone away.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, old friend. Nice to see you back again.
Boy Williamson and Mulder have both come out on the super soft tyres. I thought one of them might have gone for the medium.
So Williamson and Mulder both in and onto the super soft. So Erskine does get the jump. Look at that. Erskine is convincingly ahead. Look at that, 6 seconds. So the pit stop is actually round about 21 seconds. 22 seconds. No, it's more than that. Hang on. So it's 22. Yeah, it's about 22-second pit stop there. So
yeah, that's
one
pretty
in
good
mind.
going. That's pretty good going from Erskine, considering that he was, what, 2.5, 3 seconds behind Mulder before his stop.
Yeah.
And he come in, he went for the undercut, put in some good laps on the super soft tyres when he come out. I think he was fastest, well, not fastest lap, but he had all 3 fastest sectors.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mulder wasn't able to do enough on the very worn soft tyres to defend that. So yeah, no, that's a good piece of strategy, good undercut.
Yeah, definitely a good undercut from the Renault driver there. Pushes him up into 5th place. Now we've still got Parder Cooper to come in, so Erskine will get ahead of Parder Cooper. So he won't quite get into that podium finish. I was thinking he might get up into that 3rd place, but De Breen is in, so he will actually, he will be able to get up to that 3rd place. So De Breen is in. Williamson will take, obviously, the lead.
De Breen's in. I'm seeing De Breen on the track
Yeah,
at
I
the
saw him
moment.
come in,
John Donkel's in.
He's now out on a set of softs, so he's out. So Williamson is,
Sorry, big pardon. Yeah,
he came in. Williamson was too far behind him. He is now 1.3 behind De Breen, and he's on a fresh set of super softs. So he will be catching up De Breen because De Breen is on a set of softs. So expect Williamson to actually close down to De Breen very shortly. Parder Cooper is still out. Erskine is 4th, so Erskine will take that 3rd place. So he will get onto the podium, and that was a wonderful strategy move from him. I mean, he's only on 6-lap-old super soft, so he could really do some damage now.
Yeah, he's got that opportunity. He's going to be catching Parder Cooper pretty quickly. Parder Cooper will have to come in the next few laps anyway. Then I'm just thinking of their final stint. Erskine's probably going to run onto the soft tyres.
I would suspect he will, yeah.
And so will no, Parder Cooper can't go onto the soft. He's going to have to come onto the it might be him onto the medium tyres. No, it might be him onto the mediums.
Oh, onto the mediums. Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, I think that's the only option he can go, actually, thinking about it. So Parder Cooper is now in the pits. Erskine moves up into 3rd place. Mulder is into 4th. Donkel into 5th. And Parder Cooper is out on a set of super softs. So Parder Cooper is out on a set of super softs.
That's interesting. I probably wouldn't have done that.
Well, he's gonna have to go super soft now.
Yeah.
Or can he go super soft? No, he can't. He could go super soft.
He could go super soft, yeah.
So it could well be what he might be looking at. So, bit of a change now. De Breen is still ahead in this race, but Boy Williamson is only 1.5 seconds behind him. Guido Erskine is 10 seconds down the road to Williamson, but he's now up into 3rd place. He's got Rob Mulder in the Williams, looking to try and close him down. He's 4 seconds down the road to him. 4th. 5th is John Donkel. 6th, Marcel France in the Toro Rosso. Marcel Dronig in the Renault is 7. Damie Harmon, Damie just hasn't been able to get it together, and and move through this pack. I mean, he is now on the gearbox of Dronig, and this is very interesting here. Yeah, nice. As they're coming round Spoon, out of the Spoon, and he is all over the back of this Renault. He's going to have to take him, isn't
Just
he?
while we're watching, he is, and I'm sure he will on the DRS on the start finish straight. Just while we're watching him do that, Green's actually set the fastest lap on the soft tyres. So he's defending very well against Wilson, and actually Joanne's come in.
Yep, indeed. Dronik's come in. Hartmann was ahead, but Martin Paardekoper now is closing down on the back of Stappers. So this is a Red Bull McLaren fight now. Now, has Paardekoper got enough to get ahead of Stappers into first turn? Oh, they're side by side. This is going to be close. Oh, dearie me. Fantastic control, though, from both drivers. Real hard racing round first turn. But Paardekoper, he's got the advantage on those super softs, makes it count, gets ahead of Stappers, takes 8th place.
Was that round the outside, did he?
It was. Yeah, it was, because Stappers was on the inside. So Stappers was on the inside line, and obviously, you know, thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to be okay here. And yeah, Paardekoper actually went off the racing line and went wide on the left round that first turn. I mean, that takes cojones, it really does.
Yeah, no, fair play, and a lot of respect for both those drivers. They're good control. Sebastian Breen sets another consecutive fastest lap.
Fast time, yeah, and Williamson's now dropped 2.2 seconds behind De Breen, and he's on those super softs. So this is not boding well.
It's not, and what it's doing as well is it's probably demoralising, and there we go. Yeah, it's just exactly what I said. It was probably going to happen. It's demoralising Boy Williamson with it coming up most of being fastest lap twice in a row on harder tyres, and
yeah,
he's just been thinking about it and gone off himself.
Yeah, well, I didn't catch that, but that looked like that probably was through the S curves.
Yeah.
So Williamson needs to rethink his strategy now. Nearly 6 seconds behind De Breen. De Breen is just lighting up this track at the moment. He is a man on a mission, but you know, I think he's right. This is the time now to get that gap back up again, because he is probably, this is his opportunity now to make sure he stays ahead of Williamson.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, in De Breen's first stint, I didn't actually think it was sort of, you know, he wasn't sort of blowing the competition away. Williamson sort of remained sort of 2 or 3 seconds behind him. Maybe he was 4 at the most before the pit stops. But in their second stint, he's just, yeah, he's come out sort of a completely different driver, and he's sort of back to how he used to be.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying. Now, the other one here as well is Erskine, and he is absolutely eating into Williamson's time here. I think he's taken almost 5 seconds out of him.
Yeah, to get 3 of those seconds would have been from Williamson's mishap at the end of the guesses. But yeah, these last few laps from Erskine have been very quick in comparison.
So he is going to be very shortly closing down, but he's now on 10-lap old super softs, and we haven't seen these super softs go much deeper than 10 laps.
He's just got 3 seconds.
Yeah,
no, he
got
hasn't.
3 seconds.
And he's just got 3 seconds penalty.
Yeah. Well, that was around Designer. That was around Designer he cut. So he's going to have to come in, basically, I think, and that's it. And that's going to drop him down to P7. But he's on lap, well, we're on lap 26 of 53. He could go on to those softs now. If he takes care of them, he could go to the end of the race, but he really is, I think he needs to go another couple of laps before he goes for that brave move, if he can.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the longest we've seen someone go on the soft tyres so far is 22 laps, and that'll only take him to sort of lap 49, 50.
Yeah, but lesser fuel load. Yeah, and Ershine is in. Ershine is in.
I wonder what he's going to do. I've got a feeling. I know I keep saying this. I
26
think
laps.
someone's
Can
going
he
to go
do
on the
it?
medium.
You think he's going to go on the medium? Let's see. We'll stay with him. Expect him to come out in P7, and he's gone. He's gone on to the super softs.
He's on the supers.
Okay, so definitely. Okay, he's gone on to the supers.
I didn't expect that.
I didn't expect that either, to be fair. And well, he's going to have to come in again. So okay, interesting. We'll see how that pans out. Damie Hartman is now up in P6. He's on 11 lap old softs, and he's starting to close down on Marcel France. Same tyre compound, but 4 laps older, just ahead of him. And he is really starting to close him down. Oh, look at that! Marcel France goes wide into designer, and this is given the opportunity for Damie Hartman to get right on his gearbox. He's got dirty tyres, takes him before they get into the hairpin.
Yeah, he gave him the position there. I think it was it might have come up as an illegal overtake.
Oh, I don't know. I think he just went off, and that was it. He couldn't. I don't think he basically had dirty tyres. He couldn't defend. So Damie Hartman moves up into 5th place. John Donkel is now in 4th, and a good solid race from this Force India driver. He's on 5 lap old softs. Can he go to the end? Can he do? Well, that'd be 15. Is it 15? Hang on, let's have a look at this. Oh,
no, it's 25 laps. Plus
25 laps. Yeah, can he do that? You don't think they can?
If he was on the mediums will do it, but not these.
Well, obviously these guys, I think, are looking to go there. And John Donkel picks up a 3-second time penalty while we were discussing there. And this is really interesting, because Debris has gone on to those softs lap 22. He'd have to be looking to do 31 laps on those softs, because I don't know, I mean, you can make the tyres last, but these guys have been practicing, and I'm thinking that these guys here, John Donkel and Debris, are actually thinking that they can go to the end of this race on those softs, you know?
Okay, they might be thinking it.
You're not confident about that, Adrian. You're not confident
really not,
about that.
It's that effect. It just eats up the tyre so much, and especially if you've got a driver in front of you taking away all your downforce and also taking away the air to cool the tyres. Yeah, they can just eat them up so quickly.
So sorry we missed that bit there, but we just seen Ershine make the move on Marcel France and the Toro Rosso, and I think that was round hairpin actually. So didn't see that one coming, but he has taken P6. So he's already got ahead of 1 on track. He's got Damie Hartman only 2.6 seconds ahead of him on 12 lap old softs. I think we're going to see Guido Ershine really start to come through now. Miguel Torni picks up a 3-second time penalty there.
Yeah, Torni's going backwards.
Oh dear, Torni in Force India, he's spun.
So not having a good race.
He's not, bless him. He's not having a great race here, but fair play. Stay in, because you can still pick up points. It only takes 1 more driver to go out, and you've got points. So stay in there. Every point counts. Don't give up. And I'm watching Ershine here. Hartman has responded. He is starting to open up, but Ershine is slowly but surely eating into that time of Hartman's ahead of him. So this is going to prove very, very interesting indeed. You know, is he looking to put a quick sort of fast stint in on those super softs and then go on to the softs, do you think?
Yeah, that's one option. Yeah, in fact, he's probably looking to do exactly that.
He's probably looking to maybe go like 6, 8 laps on those super softs and then finish off on the softs. It's going to be interesting, because he needs to make it count on track. He's now 5 tenths off the back of Hartman as they come round 130R into the Casino Triangle. So he can just 4/10 now. He's got DRS. Can he make the move? 3/10. They can't lie. He's certainly got the pace and the ability.
I'm sensing deja vu here. He's got no battery.
Yeah, I can see that as well. But side by side, bit of a contact there.
Wheel to wheel
contact.
there.
But wheel to wheel, I think there was a little bit of contact, but Ershine does indeed get ahead of Hartmann, but Hartmann's not giving up. He's on his gearbox through the S's here. But remember, a little bit of dirt there from Ershine, going round 5. So they're coming round Dunlop now, and Ershine is starting to pull out. But let's see what happens here in Designer. It can all go horribly wrong. A bit like designer clothing, really, isn't it? It can all go horribly wrong.
Very good.
So into the hairpin.
I think that move was perhaps a bit more aggressive than we've seen from Sean, but I think that's because he didn't want to spend 3 or 4 or 5 laps behind him like he did with Mulder.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think you're absolutely spot on there. He needs to get, this is important. He needs to get, and in all sincerity, he needs to catch up to Dunkel and get ahead of him as well on track. And boy picks up 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. He's in.
That's significant. That is significant. He could have been on to possibly win this race.
He's now in. And clearly that tyre wear, which is, this track is renowned for, and I said we're going to be looking at least at 2 stops, and we are. So this is going to be very interesting indeed, because as you say, I mean, when you're looking at strategy, you know, you really were thinking that somebody here was going to have to go onto the mediums, but nobody has.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It's not the worst tyre in the world around this track. I mean, it can do 30 laps pretty easily. I mean, it does 15 in the 15% race, 50% races. But yeah, it does surprise me. But each to their own.
Well, Damie Hartmann is not giving up by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he's not doing himself any favours there, because at this moment in time, his teammate now is on his posterior and only just over a second behind him. So Boy Williamson is now lining up behind his teammate on a fresh set of softs, and Damie Hartmann, he is trying to stay with Ershine, and Ershine is definitely closing in on Donkel. He's taken roughly about half a second, I think, out on the past lap, and I think he's just being a little bit conscious of Hartmann behind him. I think he just needs to concentrate on the track ahead of him and just lay down that power and get as close as he can to Donkel. And Ershine, look at this, he's already, you know, potential podium now with the pit stops that are going on. He's got a 5-lap-old super. I think he's doing well. I think he could still be looking at a podium finish. Yeah,
I wouldn't put it past it at all. Yeah, he's definitely he's doing all the right things so far. A couple of sort of little moments here and there, but yeah, he could be on for a podium, as you say.
I think it could be looking good, but John Donkel as well, he's looking strong. He's on those 10-lap-old softs, as is Bastien Breen. I mean, De Breen is a clear pit stop ahead of Donkel now, so he's in comfortable territory. So he knows he can pit in. He can probably go as deep as he wants with those softs, and he can still pit in. Donkel, on the other hand, doesn't really want to do that. He wants to try and stay out, if he possibly can, till the end of this race. We've got 20 laps remaining. He's on 10 laps. He'll be doing 30 laps on those softs.
Blimey. Yeah, he won't want to be doing that. I mean, he's going to have to come in for the supers at some point.
We have seen Donkel with some great tyre management, but I agree with you, Adrian. I don't think he can do that on this track.
No, it's just going to be a matter of whether Ershine can grab that sort of provisional P2 then when Donkel hits, or if it will be Williamson. Ursh's got to do. He's got to get far enough ahead of Williamson to allow him to pit, because Williamson's probably not going to come in.
Well, by my calculation, Erskine needs 30 seconds. He needs to get 30 seconds time to Donkel. So he's 8.2 seconds behind him now. If Donkel were to pit, he would be 14 seconds behind him. Sorry, Donkel would be 14 seconds behind him, and he'd still have to make up about another 8 seconds. So it is doable. I think Erskine is not only looking at a potential podium here, but he could be looking at P2.
It could be. I think Williamson's going to have something to say about that, because obviously Williamson doesn't need to pit. The two drivers ahead of him will have to pit, and I don't think that Erskine or Donkel can get as far ahead of Williamson as they need to be.
Well, Williamson is going to have to do 22 laps on those softs, so that is
fine.
doable. That is doable, but look at the way he's having to really push that car to stay with Erskine. I think that he is doing his tyres no favours at all by doing that. And if he were to ease off, he wouldn't need to do that.
Yeah, quite right. He's not doing himself any favours by staying in his dirty air and heating up his own tyres. Although he could just be trying to pressure Erskine into a mistake, but again, he doesn't really need to do that because he's going to get him on the pit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Williamson just, isn't aware, and he's just seeing, as most drivers do. Let's be fair. You're on the track. You've got a guy that's, within sights of you. You're going to go for it. You just aren't going to go for it.
Yeah, I know that's a sort of natural racing mentality, isn't it? to try and overtake, but it's Formula One.
It's called the caveman mentality, The car ahead must overtake. Oh, look at that! And he nearly loses it.
Just touched the ground there.
Nearly loses it there as he's coming on that downhill section out of Spoon. So that won't have done him any favours, and it won't have done his tyres any favours, that's for sure.
No, certainly not. I was going to say just before he went off that Formula One's more of a sort of a thinking man's race rather than a sort of cavemanist. I'm pretty sure I know what I saw just then.
Me get past. Yeah, indeed. So we will see how that pans out. So it's going to be this is interesting, certainly, and as to how it's going to pan out, because Williamson is not letting Erskine get ahead of him in any way, shape or form. And he is clearly pushing, because his teammate, Damien Hartman, was only just over a second behind him. He is now nearly 4 seconds, over 4 seconds behind him. So clearly these two are pushing, and the advantage has to be Erskine, surely. He's going to be laughing his socks off here.
Yeah, at the moment, he certainly will be. And on top of all that, Rob Mulder's right at the backside of Damien Hartman.
Well, let's have a look at this as they're coming round turn 11. And indeed, Rob Mulder.
Hartman's tyres are dying off.
Yeah, I think they are. Well, they're 19-lap-old softs. And this will give us an idea, because that being the case, let's say they can go 20 laps and he's been pushing, but not as hard as Williamson. That means that Williamson has only got 16 laps effectively, potentially, remaining on that. And we could see him, it could take him to the end of this race, but he's going to be in dangerous territory if he stays on those softs to the close of this race. Very dangerous territory.
And there we go, and Hartman's just come in.
Mulder's gone in. Sorry, Hartman's gone in, so he is in off those 20-lap-old softs. Mulder goes up into 5th. Williamson is 4th. And he's still staying with Erskine. And Ershine's still out on those super softs. Now, the next question is when is Erskine going to come in off those super softs? He's done 9 laps.
Yeah, it's going to have to be. It's going to have to be soon. I think he's trying to get into super soft territory again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got 17 laps remaining. I don't think he's going to be able to do it, in all sincerity, because that being the case,
he's got to do 4 more laps on these tyres to sort of for them to even out. You know, have to do 13 again. It won't be nice, but I mean, it's doable.
It is doable, but he needs to keep that Haas behind him. Oh, and again, Williamson goes wide again. Again, on that same exit as he's coming out of Spoon.
He needs the downforce at that moment. That's what it is, because he's so close to Ashon in front of him.
He just loses the downforce.
He's getting no downforce to hold him on track.
Well, this is going to be very interesting indeed to see how this pans out, because this is a battle here. So Ershine's in. So Ershine has come in and he has released Williamson now. So he's going to have to go onto the softs. He can't go onto the super softs. Yeah, he's onto the softs.
Yeah, he's got soft. Yeah.
So Ershine has gone onto the softs. Now he's comfortably going to be out in 5th place. It's going to be a question of how that then pans out for the guys ahead of him. He is going to be on a lovely, fresh set of softs with only 16 laps remaining. And we've got John Dunkel and Bas de Breen both on 15 laps. And we have, well, effectively 15 laps remaining. These guys are going to have to come in, aren't they? Surely they can't stay out. I'm looking at it and I know, I'm thinking that's what they want to do. I'm thinking that's what they want to do. But they're going to have to come in. I mean, De Breen's okay, he's safe. But Dunkel is not safe at all, really.
No, he's not. No, he's certainly going to have to come in. I'm just looking at P4 with Mulder and the sort of ongoing battle with Ershon. Obviously, Ershon's just come in. He's going to have to. He's got a gap of 18 seconds to the car in front, which is going to be difficult to sort of close down in this short time. I wonder whether Ershon's strategy has actually let him down now when he come in earlier on for the super
Well, I don't know, because let's bear in mind that Mulder is going to have to go 21 laps on those softs. And Williamson, 22 laps. And this is the thing, those guys can go to the end of this race on those softs. Williamson, I think, is going to be the one that's going to have the biggest problem, because he's been pushing so hard to stay up with Ershine. Mulder, I mean, let's put it like this, I've seen it before. The tyres get to a point where, you can still go round, keep your place, but then you're susceptible to punctures. And you're watching these guys, you know, especially around those S-curves, all you need to do is go onto that gravel or that dirt on one of those corners in that S-curve, and you've got a puncture, my friend.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, anything beyond 70% tyre wear can cause a puncture. I mean, you can actually get a puncture anything beyond 30%. There's a very small chance of it happening. It's never happened to me. But beyond 70, sort of, you know, really increases your chances.
You know, I think they're going to be pushing it, and I think this, you know, as I say, De Breen, I think he's obviously safe. He's got the window. He can come out, still maintain P1, no problem. John Donkel, I think he's in a precarious position. Boy Williamson, I think he's very much so. And Mulder is pretty close behind that. And I think Ershine could still potentially get that P2. And he's looking strong for that. He's P3, irrespective.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he does get it. I think Williamson will probably have it for P2 with Ershine second, and Ershine third, and Mulder fourth. I think Dunkel might be P5.
Well,
good race from Dunkel, though.
It's been a fantastic race. It has been a fantastic race.
We probably don't. I've only seen 3 F1 Tonight races, but this is the first time I've seen him quite so far up the order.
Well, we will see how that is going to to pan out.
It's in a 5-second stop go for Tony. I don't think he's enjoying himself out there at all.
No, I don't think so. But he's hanging in there. I mean, as I said, you know, nothing lost by hanging in there. He could still pick up points. All it takes is one DNF, and we've seen a few of them this evening. Let's be fair. So, we've seen 5 already. So, you know, nothing lost and potential points gained.
Stappers was looking like making a move on France.
Yeah.
He might have it down this DRS.
He might have it down the DRS. I think he has. I think France is defending, but Stappers is good round first turn, and he's going to close him down. Yeah, look at that. Closed him right down.
I think there's a problem with Stappers' DRS. It was available, but he wasn't using it. I wonder if that's a mechanical issue, which has happened to me quite a few times. The DRS becomes either stuck open or stuck closed.
Well, that's not an ideal situation, certainly, and I've got to say, I was a bit surprised that he didn't close the Toro Rosso down. But look at this, I think he's going to be looking to do something here into turn 11. Watch this, watch this.
Oh.
Watch this, look at that. If you couldn't get much closer if you wanted to. Oh, side by side, and he goes through France. Is France out?
Yeah, I think...
he goes through him, actually.
I think France's batteries might have died at that moment. He was quickly trying to change it, but I just saw him go to AI mode for a few seconds there.
And that gave Stappers the opportunity to get past him. Well. So, well, that was a hell of a move then by Stappers. Very impressive.
Yeah, it's very opportunistic.
Very opportunistic, but he was looking to make that move into 11. He was clearly lining himself up for that exit of 11, wasn't he? Irrespective.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say that he probably would have made that move regardless. But yeah, well done. And he's
and Stappers is into the pits. Whoa, and he gets a 5-second stop go. No.
Calm down. Calm down.
Oh, God, dearie me. Right, so Guido Ershine, he's in 5th place, 18 seconds down the road to Rob Mulder in the Williams.
He just served the stop go just then when he made his pit stop.
Oh, boy, Williamson, he's now closing in on John Dunkel. Very interesting. Look at this. Boy Williamson is all over the back of John Dunkel as they go round 130R and into Casino, and I think Williamson's going to make the move in him on this start-finish straight. He's within DRS capability of doing that without a shadow of a doubt. Dunkel going defensive to the right. Oh, can't move now. Got to stay on the inside. That's it. He's got to stay on the outside. Oh, bad entry by Williamson there. He lost a great opportunity. I think he's going to get it back, though, to be fair.
Yeah, Dunkel's, you can see that Dunkel's tyres, especially the rear tyres, they've lost sort of all grip, and he's it's sort of a combination of the lack of grip and the pressure building behind him is sort of sending him not off track as such, but he's clipping grassy apexes, which is never good.
Well, definitely not good. I think Dunkel's going to be coming in before long. That means Williamson will move up into 3rd place, whether he makes the move on track or not. And Mulder will then move. Williamson moving 2nd, Mulder will go into 3rd, and then Ershine will be in 4th. And I'll tell you what, I am very confident that Ershine will get at least 3rd on that podium. And yeah, Williamson's making the move. Williamson's making the move. Does it before they get into 130R. So he's up in second. Donkel. Well, is he going to pit now?
Donkel's got to come in. He's got to.
No, he's not gone in. He's staying out. So Donkel stays out.
No, he's in now.
He's in. So Donkel is in. So Rob Mulder will now move up into third place. But Erskine isn't close enough. I thought Erskine was close enough to take. What's happened there? Oh, he is. Yeah, he should be. Let's watch this now. Watch this now. Donkel's on his way out. Erskine is on the start, finish straight. Donkel is not out yet. Yeah, Erskine will make the move on him, I'm sure. No, he's just behind him.
Yeah,
just behind him.
And Donkel's on the super softs. So that's going to be really difficult to pass it, if not impossible.
Well, yeah, but he hasn't got the heat into those tyres yet, so... And Erskine has. He can make this count now, but he can't let him get away. He cannot afford to let him get away. He has got to really... This could be the critical part of Ershine's race here. He has to get past John Donkel, and he has to do it now. He cannot afford to let Donkel get out ahead of him. He's got to make that move. And Miguel Torney picking up a 3-second time penalty. And Erskine has just dropped out of that second.
Yeah, the warmer Donkel's tyres get, the more and more quick he's actually getting off the track.
Well,
and further he's getting away.
I think that's a shame. I think that's pretty much done it. I was counting on the fact that Donkel would get out, or Erskine would get ahead of Donkel, but very close, but not close enough, unfortunately. But
this also means. Sorry, go on.
No, you're still say this also means.
Yeah, it also means that Rob Mulder, as I said, who Ershine's been battling all race, and Ershine's actually got muscle.
Oh, Erskine is looking to make the move. It's a first turn. He's on the outside. Can he get it? Oh yes, he does. Like a sliding power slide round. First turn from both drivers, and Erskine gets ahead of John Donkel. What a fantastic move.
Donkel did touch the back of his car. I don't know if he's lost the right end plate on his front wing. Let's try to get a better view. It does look like it is missing.
Yeah, he has.
Got a yellow wing.
Yeah, he's lost the fins off the inside right of that front wing. So there was a bit of contact there, but what a fantastic control from both drivers, but in particular Erskine. That was a real power slide. I mean, you know, there are some drivers that specialise that'd be proud to do that. I think, especially in an F1 car.
You're quite right. It's one of the four-wheel steering or four-wheel drifting.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it is impressive. It's good to see. I think that was assisted by the car behind him just bumping his rear slightly.
Oh, absolutely. There was definitely a little bit of assist there, but it did look good. It did look good, and this is what Erskine wanted, and this was critical. And he's 2.6 seconds ahead of Donkel now, and he's got to really open that up. He's really got to open that up. Now, there are 8 laps remaining. 8 laps remaining. That means that Boy Williamson is going to be looking to do 22 laps, and Rob Mulder 21 laps on those softs.
Palmer's going to make the move on the injured Donkel. I feel bad for Donkel because he has had a brilliant race up to then.
Yeah, he has, but that's it. Hartman makes the move. Damie Hartman in the Haas takes 5th place from John Donkel. Oh, that was a nice shot there. We saw the Ferrari going over a Bastabreen on the bridge there, actually, as these guys are going underneath. I've not seen that one before. That'll have to be a clip to remember. I'll have to try and find that. But, Bastabreen setting the fastest time on track so far, 1:31.0. And look at this, he's coming comfortably ahead of Boy Williamson. Nearly 7 seconds. He's already done 2 laps on those super softs. Sublime race. I mean, we haven't been with Bass during the course of this race. Little point, in all sincerity. But, you know, let's say it. I mean, fantastic race. I mean, not necessarily unexpected. It's a shame. Well, not a shame, but, you know, you come to expect certain things of certain drivers. But a sublime race from Bass in the Ferrari there.
Yeah, it's had one of those races where you just forget that he's even in it, because he's, you know, kind of, I wouldn't say in a league of his own, but he's doing everything right while things are going on behind him, and he's able to sort of, you know, escape and race his own race, and inevitably more than likely to take the win here.
Well, it's certainly looking strong for that. This is F1 tonight, and this is 2018 season race 17, the Japanese Grand Prix here at Suzuka. We have 7 laps remaining, or 6 very shortly anyway. Remaining of this race. It's been a fantastic race, a real strategy race as well, because it's really come into play. And we're looking at these first 5 drivers. Bastebreen clearly ahead. He's going to be looking certainly to take that win. Boy Williamson in the Haas, 6 seconds down the road from him. He's looking to take 2nd place. And Rob Mulder in the Williams, he's another 8 seconds down the road from Williamson, and he's looking to take 3rd. But more importantly, they are on soft tyres, which are very rapidly dropping off their peak, and with certainly a lot of wear, they are open to potential issues and problems, e.g. punctures. So it could be very interesting. Anything could still happen. Guido Airshine waiting in the wings there in the Renault. He's done a great race. A bit of a questionable stop though, got to say, when he went on to the super softs, but I'm sure he knew what he was doing. Damie Hartman in the Haas, he's in 5th. He's looking strong as well. Marcel France in the Toro Rosso, he's in 6th. John Donkel, well, such a great race from John Donkel. He's always been up there, certainly fighting, but he's got really severe damage to his front wing. He has come in by the looks of it. Looks like he's got a new wing. Has he got a new wing? Has he come in? Yes, he has. Yeah, he has.
Yeah, he's come in.
So he has got a new wing on there, but he's dropped down to P7. Martin Parder-Cooper is hot on his heels, and John is pushing. He's just picked up a 3-second time penalty, so clear frustration there from the Force India driver. Martin Parder-Cooper in the Red Bull is starting to close him down, but he's also on 14-lap old soft, so could be dangerous. Marcel Dronig in the Renault, he's in P9. Mark Stappers in P10. Always a solid race from Mark, always finishes, but he's going to be one to watch. I am certain of that in forthcoming seasons. And Miguel Torney in the Force India. Oh dear, just as we cut to him. Oh dear. On the exit of Spoon Curve, I think he has. No, he hasn't DNF, but he's taken out his front wing. He's really not had a great race at all, but fair play to him. The guy does not give up. Stay in there, keep going. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I've been there many times myself, where, you know, the rest of the drivers in the race just seem to have the track nailed down, and you know, I can't quite get it right, and I end up, you know, I finished Monaco, for example, last season, 5 laps behind the leaders. Yeah, but I did finish, and I scored the point. So.
Exactly. Look at this, and John Donkel picking up the fastest provisional lap so far with a 1:30. So John Donkel laying down, yeah, okay, I've picked up damage, but I'm not giving up. So fair play to John Donkel there. He's down in P7 at this moment in time. But we are now with 5 laps remaining. 5 laps remaining. Anything can happen. Guido Airshine is potentially waiting in the wings there for a podium finish. It's down to these guys here, Rob Mulder and Boy Williamson. What will happen? Will they be able to stay on track, stay intact to the end of this race? Or will those tyres and the wear come into play and frustrate them right at the close. We can only wait and see. I'm biting my nails here because I'm just waiting for a pop.
Yeah, so, you know, anything, as I say, can happen in Formula One, and it often does. But yeah, I mean, there are still 4 laps or 5 laps to go, if you include the lap they're on at the moment. And yeah, it's again, I feel slightly bad for Ershon, because he's had his first and second stints were brilliant. He made that undercut on Rob Mulder, and you thought he had it sort of in the bag, sort of position-wise against him. But then he come in for another set of super softs, and I think that
killed it. I think that killed. But what could he have done? I mean, he was on that cusp, wasn't he? He had 17. Oh, yep. Dearie me! And John Donkel goes into the barrier and does damage once again. To his front wing, but this time it's his front left that he's damaged, and that was on the exit. On the exit, as he was coming around a Dunlop down into designer, lost it before coming into designer, went straight into the barrier. He was lucky he didn't DNF there. Oh, this has just gone from bad to worse. Bad to worse.
Yeah.
You know, Martin Pardercoop in Red Bull says thank you, takes the place, but oh dear, John must be absolutely, I wouldn't want to know what the language in his house is right now, but I can pretty certain it's going to be fairly blue.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Oh man, yeah, that's horrible. I really feel for the guy there. He's had such an amazing race as well.
He has. He's had a fantastic race.
So well.
He has a fantastic race, but that little bit of contact that he had with the Renault driver of Guido Ershine has just gone from bad to worse. It really has. Now Ershine is closing down on Mulder. He's taken about a second and a half out of him. But obviously not going to be enough. There's only 3 laps remaining now. So 3 laps remaining. I don't want to go into cockpit view and check out his tyres, but I'm going to. And I'm going to do the same with Williamson. So let's wait till he gets on the straight and maybe get a little bit of light on them. And let's see how they're looking. Now they're not looking too bad, to be fair. Mulder's tyres are not looking too bad. Let's have a look at Williamson's. And Wilson's, it's fairly even. I think these guys are actually looking okay. But
yeah, well,
it's even, but it is down. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's typically the rear tyres that tend to lose their grip a bit quicker than the fronts in this track.
Unfortunately, we don't have rear view anymore, so can't have a look at them.
No.
So that's one feature that was taken away from broadcast mode. You can't actually go into the rear view of the vehicle in cockpit view, where you used to be able to look at the rear tyres and see what the wear was like. But certainly, yeah, I mean, predominantly the wear is going to be on those rears, that's for sure, and we can't see them. But we know that they are going to be very well worn, and I would expect them to be in sort of the high 60s, if not the 70s.
Yeah, definitely, at least, especially for Williamson. I mean, he's done 20 laps. I mean, yeah, I mean, we know that they can do 22, but the state they're in at the end of that stint is, yes, not great.
3-second time penalty for Rob Mulder there. Now this signifies to me that grip is starting to go, because he picked that up as he was coming round R130, high speed turn. So that immediately says to me loss of grip. I don't know what you think, Adrian.
Yeah, it's definitely a sort of terrible sign, isn't it? They're coming to their natural end. I mean, that's actually only his second warning. I'm surprised he's still been given the 3-second penalty for that. But yeah, the tyres are definitely on their way out. I was just having a look at Ershon's penalties as well. He's actually got 6 seconds worth of penalties, which means...
Oh dear. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to make it. But still a great race, has to be said. He's fought well, but it was just that middle stint. And sorry, I was saying on that. Yeah, he was a bit of a stuck because he had 17 laps to go. He couldn't go on to the super softs, but he would have had to have stayed out on the super softs. He was on that bit longer. He'd had to stay out about another 3-4 laps, and clearly he didn't feel that he was able to. But had he stayed out of those 3 or 4 laps, and let's say he'd lost, you know, a place, maybe 2 places, he still would have been in a better position, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he'd been slightly ahead of the stayed. But to be honest, on his second stint, he really, I know I keep trying to plug him, but he really should have gone for the medium tyres.
Yeah.
I think.
And nobody has.
Yeah,
not one driver has gone for
story.
those mediums this evening. Everybody has gone softs and super softs.
Yeah. Yeah, I really don't know why. Perhaps I just heard that, you know, they make you can't spin, and they just don't want to risk it, so
yeah,
stay away from him. Whether it's true or not, you know.
Well, I think there's a certain amount of truth, and that's why you know, I know a lot of people like to finish the race on a medium compound if it's available. Personally, I would prefer to use it as an opener, only from the point of view that you're just carrying that extra fuel, and with the mediums, I think it always sits a little bit better with a heavier fuel load.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I like to start on the harder tyres myself if I can. If I'm quick enough, thank you to do that. But
yeah. Right,
well, always work that way.
We're with Basterbreen on his final sector 3 as he comes round R130 into the Casino Triangle. What a fantastic race from Basterbreen in Ferrari, and he takes first place here at Japan. Fantastic result for him. Boy Williamson completes the race. He does do those 23 laps. He comes in second. Rob Mulder in the Williams. Great race from him. And finally, John Donkel does a 1:30.0 fastest lap. Rob Mulder,
phenomenal lap.
It is, for Williams, comes in third place. Guido Erschein for Renault, I think, will take fourth, yeah, because he's 8 seconds adrift.
Yeah.
So he will take that place. So he picks up valuable points anyway. I mean, you know, can't complain. 12 points certainly contribute towards his championship. And Damie Hartman, well, he's lost out, certainly. He's got to pick up 10 points. So still keep him ahead of the game as Nicky Visser went out, who's currently in fourth in the championship. But a great race, it has to be said. And exciting start to finish. Certainly those drivers did go deep on those softs, and it does beg the question, you know, why didn't Erschein come in when he went onto those super softs? Why didn't he go onto the softs? Could he not go onto the softs?
He could have gone onto softs on his third, sort of second stint.
Yeah.
Would have had to really push him though to make him last again.
Well, yeah.
Mediums would have done it fine.
Well,
but yeah, I didn't expect him to go onto the supers.
No, certainly not. And there you have it. Basterbreen for Ferrari takes the win here at Japan, and the 25 points. Second place goes to Boy Williamson in the Haas. He picks up 18 points. Rob Mulder in the Williams takes third with 15. Guido Erschein, as we discussed, takes fourth place. Damie Hartman for Haas takes fifth. Marcel France for Toro Rosso takes sixth. Martin Pardercooper for Red Bull takes 7. Marcel Dronig for Renault takes 8. 9 is Mark Strappers for McLaren. 10, John Donkel for Force India, and his teammate Miguel Torni takes 11 and 0 points. Very unfortunate. But, well, that is the race done. And what did you think, Adrian?
Yeah, it a fascinating and entertaining spectacle from start to finish. I'd just like to point out as well, actually, John Donald's fastest lap is a whole second faster than anyone else, including Pastor Green.
Well, you know, he may not have got it, but he's certainly done well. Next week, we are at the Circuit de las Americas in the United States, in the fair state of Texas. Please join us there next Thursday. We'll be starting around about 7:30. We hope you've enjoyed it. We certainly have. So we look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you very much, and good night, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.